They do not work. Oh, I need to actually. I should probably unmute myself over here. That'd probably be a good thing to do.
Computer. Let me put unless you want to do cameras, I was gonna put something up. Do you just want me to use your profile picture?
You can just use profile picture. I'm streaming on my channel as well, and I don't have two cameras.
Fair enough,
I'm not going to be able to broadcast without doing like a screen grab or something janky like that.
That works for me. So I will just do that. Ooh, I can do here. I like the one from your header. The face, yes.
It's the face
Beautiful.
of it's the face of a creepy camp counselor approaching me.
Yes. Perfect. Okay, so as I put that there, introduce yourself to the crew here.
Sure thing. This is actually not my first time on your show.
I know.
First time was a while ago when you did the 24-hour charity stream.
Yeah. Which was a good time. Appreciate you keeping me awake.
for about an hour or two. That said, how's it going, everybody? My name is Cyrus. If you're watching over on my channel and you don't know who I am, I want to know what weird world you're in. You've jumped through it. You've jumped through a time anomaly, and now we're here. But if you're on Jake's chat and you don't know who I am, one, your life is probably better for it. But two, I do atheist, skeptic, and political content. Generally, lefty sphere type stuff. A lot of social advocacy. I want to say social justice advocacy, but I feel like there's going to be somebody from Kiwi Farms who's just going to hear that from a mile away like Superman and go, the SJWs, they're grouping. So
we do that sometimes. We do group.
I mean, it's literally called solidarity, right?
Yeah.
But
what's a group of SJWs called? What are we called when we all get together and they all get mad? Like a murder? Still a murder?
I don't think it's a murder. I know for Karens, it's a privilege of Karens.
Ooh, I like that a lot.
I'm trying to think of what it would be.
A collective?
Would it be a fedora of SJWs?
Hell yeah. Okay, one fedora. And then that can be broken down into further subcategories of trilbies and beanies. Yeah, depending on how.
Oh no, not beanies. Those got appropriated by somebody who calls himself ostensibly on the left.
We will take it back from him, okay?
But then his shiny head will show everybody exactly how balding he is.
Hey, it's not his fault he doesn't have the sex. It's everybody else's, okay? That's amazing. What an amazing take someone has had in their life. They're like, of course, it's not me.
This is like freaking Paul Joseph Watson freaking out about Lauren Southern coming back and going, do you think with my perfect white Aryan genes I did not actually have the sex with her? It's not the genetics we're worried about, Paul.
Wait, did he brag about having sex with Lauren Southern?
Yes, on Twitter. He literally, the exact words he used were, do you think someone as handsome as me has not been inside her? And I'm just like,
wow.
Just like, okay, dude. I think I can actually send it to you real quick. Let me just Google Paul Joseph Watson simping for Lauren Southern.
He did a very similar thing with Anthony Fantano, friend of the show, where he goes, I am much more handsome than you.
I saw
me.
Like, I saw really the weird stream. I saw the stream of people responding to that going, I'm much more like literally just copy pasting that to him. And it is wonderful. Now I think Vosh actually has the screenshots from that. He literally has a video called Paul Joseph Watson has a mental breakdown with just simp in big letters on there.
Yeah, he's a strange guy. I wonder what it's like day to day to be Paul Joseph Watson. Do you think it's like really stressful? I feel like it's stressful.
So you know those memes that have the like a day in the life of a Marxist. Wake up, read the Communist Manifesto, eat cereal, but without like the little like just super stereotyping every single hour of your day. We could make one of those for Paul. Just like
it probably wouldn't be that far off though.
Wake up, scream at globalists for an hour.
Globalists.
Remember, so that's 9 a.m. Then 10 a.m. Remember that globalist is actually an anti-Semitic term. 11 o'clock, realize that his base doesn't actually care that it's anti-Semitic. 12 o'clock, finally remember he is a human being who needs food. 1 p.m., scream about how he has definitely totally been inside a woman. And then finally at 2 p.m., because his day can't go past that, I refuse to believe he exists past that point. It would just be Paul Joseph Watson remembers that half of his audience is incels, and him being inside a woman is not actually a positive thing for him.
Yeah, it's not good for the brand.
No, it's not. If he's a Chad, he's the enemy. But if he's not a Chad, he has to look at himself and question his life choices.
Well, he is the handsomest man, of course, and he has been.
Of course.
Bragging that you fuck and saying the words "I've been inside X" is gross to me.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan. I mean,
doesn't work very well in his favor either.
Can we talk about his DSLs? You know what? I actually, this is not a joke, and I don't know why I thought this, but for like 3 years, I thought Paul was gay. I don't know where that comes from. I was just like, oh, he's a gay guy and he's mad.
I mean, if you look at him, it does kind of scream big Milo Indianapolis energy. So maybe
that's it. They're very similar, I suppose.
And
maybe that was it.
Both well deserving of their platforms. Also, I have just been informed there are 2 potential names for groupings of SJWs. Either a blizzard of SJWs, a grouping of snowflakes.
Sure, yeah.
Or a re of SJWs.
Oh wow! I did see a trigger.
A trigger of SJWs.
Yeah.
So the only reason I wouldn't want to use that one is that just sounds kind of ableist. So
I mean, I think re does too, but I mean, like, I don't know.
It kind of does. It depends though. It's kind of an older meme.
A purity of SJWs.
See, I don't actually know that many SJWs who engage in purity testing though.
Me either. They're almost always liberals, but yeah.
Yeah, I know a few of them where they're like, wait, you're telling me that you didn't engage in the action that led to the most amount of liberty possible? Oh, sorry, that's a terrible segue into the actual topic, isn't it?
Well, I guess we should be on topic. That is one of the things, which was interesting because I don't think that his arguments lead towards liberty at all. I did not watch, full disclosure, I did not watch your debate. I noticed that after we watched his video that you had done that, and I was like, well, I gotta hear this. I have to hear this. But it was like an hour and a half long, and so we weren't gonna do it on stream at that point. But
yeah,
the video we watched was about how, which one was it specifically? Now I'm forgetting which one specifically.
So
it was one of the most recent ones.
So he did one video, which was him saying that the civil rights ruling for the Supreme
that was
Court
the one. That was the one.
Was immoral. I did a response to that, pointing out that well, actually, it's not immoral.
Right.
The world you construct consequentially from doing something like that is materially better. And if you have better material end gains, I think that's more important than whether or not the actual action is pure. There's a video I'm going to be doing on my channel actually about how libertarianism is basically latent Christianity. It cares not for the consequences of any one action. It cares about how pure the action is, which is one of the apologetics you get for the Christian God being able to murder whoever he wants in the Old Testament. Well, those weren't sins because those were done, by God. They were done without sin, so those are good actions. Whereas with a libertarian, it's whatever action seems to maximize the amount of liberty for the individual doing those actions, whether or not they actually hinder liberty for everyone else, that doesn't seem to matter, or they just redefine liberty.
It would seem like liberty, the best way wouldn't be just for the individual. It would seem like the maximal amount of everyone's liberty is the highest amount of liberty that you could have. And I don't know how you necessarily justify it in a metric with numbers, but he did this weird thing where he considered unemployment like a 0 on the scale, and he did like a
Yes.
+1, 0, -1.
So
Wouldn't unemployment under capitalism be a -1? Am I bonkers here?
So the way that he boils that down, and I pointed out that when we had our debate, I pointed out the problem is when you boil these things down to simple mathematics, you ignore all nuance, which creates this weird thing where like you just care about purity instead of whether or not something actually fucking matters. So what he does is he says that if you hire somebody, like everybody starts at a net 0. If you hire somebody, that's a +1 in their life, and if you fire them, that's a -1 in their life. So they're back at net 0, and nothing bad has happened. Now, you and I probably both know that this ignores a lot of things. One, 3 years into your time into a career, you will probably be in a different material position than before. You may have moved to a new apartment that costs more. You may have bought a car that's not a clunker that costs more, and now without a job, you have to go to a lower-paying job, if you even can. So you're not just going back to where you were, and many times you're going further back than you were before. Also, depending on the circumstances of getting fired, it's not just, I had a clean record, and then I got hired, and then I got fired, and now I have a clean record going into my next job. No, once you get fired, whenever that business gets called about you in the future, they're going to be able to give whatever BS answer they want in order to argue that you should or shouldn't be hired at a place. I actually knew somebody when I just turned 18 and knew someone who their first job had done that to them. They basically blacklisted them for the entire city. After they fired them, they couldn't get hired anywhere else, at least for the year that I was in that city. It doesn't just put you to a -1, but Michael seems to argue that it is one, an extension of the business's rights of association, because he treats businesses like individuals, for them to be able to do that. And two, once they fire you, it doesn't matter whatever like hill you roll down and whatever cesspool you fall into. And I'm like, it's not that they're responsible for the things that happen to you after they fire you. It's that whether or not they fire you should be considered under legitimate means. That's the argument.
Right. And also that I don't think it's a 0, like you're just living a neutral existence in capitalism when you don't have a job. Like I feel like having a basic job is the 0, not the negative. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think it's a +1.
So
because you need it to survive. You can't, like, people don't exist at a neutral 0 and remain unemployed most of their lives.
So I think merely by even having that opinion, you exemplify the problem with his argument, and that is that his notation of what is a +1, -1, or 0 is completely arbitrary. He basically constructs a super subjective framework and then argues that everyone around him has to abide by that framework, and if they don't abide by that framework, they used their personal liberty to do so, so they're actually using his framework, making his framework objective morality. I'm not saying that sounds exactly like the fucking Eggman, the way that he justifies UPG, but that's exactly how Stephen Molyneux justified UPG. Not comparing Michael to Nazi, but he also did start the Turning Point USA chapter in his college, so hard sell there.
Yeah, thank you, St. Henry. Yeah, it didn't seem like he had a grasp, or maybe he does, but it's like a totally different definition of liberty, and I could not figure out what he thinks liberty is when I was watching his video, because it seemed like a lot of things ran counter to it when it was something he found uncouth necessarily, right? Like I don't know what he thinks what liberty, like what's that like?
So for him, the way he defines liberty, and I hope I'm not strawmanning him here, because even though I am not a fan of him, I'd rather accurately represent him.
Sure, yeah.
To throw tomatoes. But the way that he defined liberty was that it was the culmination of all of your negative rights. And he argues that positive rights do not and cannot exist because a positive right, this is going to sound very much like Rand Paul, a positive right cannot exist in his framework because a positive right requires the subjugation of another human being. So for instance, like, he would consider a property right a negative right, even though property rights technically have to manifest as positive rights, because right now the way that you protect your property rights is through tax-paid law enforcement, which would mean that you're having to subjugate someone else to enforce your rights. But he would argue that somehow property rights are like granted in some way that makes them a negative right.
Yeah, I guess that would have to be. It's because it seems like it's a very specific set of circumstances for his argument to make sense.
His arguments work in the hypothetical, but as soon as you pull them into practice, they stop working. Yeah. I'll quote something that he said during our debate. Now, bear in mind, during the debate, he kept pulling away from the subject of the debate was right to fire, and kept talking about a business's right to not hire, which is not the same thing. I had to pull him back repeatedly. But ignoring that, his argument is that it is not immoral if he had the option to employ 60% of the United States, and it wouldn't materially hurt him to do so. He could employ 60% of the United States, and they would all be able to live normally, but without his employment, they would all starve to death. There's nothing immoral about his inaction there, because it's his inaction that led to the starvation of 60% of the population.
Right. It seems like he doesn't know how to apply ethics. It seems like he only deals in morality. Like, it's really strange. Like, he basically failed Philosophy 101's like the trolley problem.
Well, see, that is not a failure of the trolley problem. So
well, I know. I'm just saying, like,
bad answer.
I guess, yeah. I don't know. He almost doesn't even want to engage in it. Is kind of the idea.
Well, yeah. So, like, a rule utilitarian will look at the trolley problem and say, do I know who the one person is on the right side and the 5 people are on the other? If I don't, then I pull the lever to kill the 1 to save the 5, because that maximizes the amount of people that survive, which is the good that I'm going for via rule utilitarianism. The libertarian says that if I am to pull the lever, I am exercising my liberty to infringe on someone else's right to life, and therefore I am now being immoral. So regardless of how many people die, the immoral thing is pulling the lever.
Right, but it's not the ethical thing.
It's not the ethical thing. It only works within that personal moral framework. Oh. It's like when you're talking to a 13 or 14-year-old person who's just discovering what it's like to interact with students around them in a social way, as opposed to just throwing dirt at each other on the playground, and you're trying to talk to them about how to interact with the people around you, and they go, well, it doesn't matter if they get hurt, it only matters that I didn't do something wrong.
I don't think that's because the argument for libertarianism is not only that you think it's right, but that it would lead to the most ideal state of living, right? Like, isn't that the reason you argue for it? Is the ideal state of existence?
The ideal state of existence is one that maximizes your personal liberty. That's what libertarian argues. The problem with that, though, that I find, and you may agree with me or not, when they have a really ill-defined version of liberty, it ignores certain important material conditions. So, for instance, if I live in poverty and I can only afford Top Ramen and I can only afford my mortgage, I can't even afford a phone, which can also mean that I might not even be able to get certain jobs, because getting a call back is kind of important. But I can only afford like the bare minimum to just coast by and survive. Yeah. In what ways can I actually exercise my liberty? Because under the libertarian framework, like, I'm doing fine. I'm not infringing on anybody. Nobody's infringing on me. Everything's perfectly hunky-dory. But in reality, I'm in an economic class that prevents me from moving in any way, shape, or form. I functionally, I have no liberty. I have it in theory, but this is the classic that works in practice, but it will never work in theory.
Yeah,
which seems to be what libertarianism is. Everything works in theory, but in practice,
I agree. Nothing. And I think extending this to how we should apply this is the kind of arguments that we should be having when we run for political office as lefty people or leftists. Is like, say, hey, this maximizes liberty. And I think if you taught in opinions of electoralism aside, since it's a system that we operate in right now in the United States. I think it behooves us to explain that your life is just more libertous in these ways, and that like, hey, it's not slavery. And this is something he said in the video. It's slavery to make a doctor care for you, which is fucking wild.
So there's a fun argument where that's concerned. By that logic, a fireman or a policeman's duty is like, ignore the current issues with police, because there's shit tons where that's concerned.
There's a bit of a kerfuffle right now about police. Maybe you guys haven't heard of it,
but the idea, like, let's just say that the idea of law enforcement, not necessarily police as we currently understand them, because police as we currently understand them can do a whole lot of shit to fuck up your personal liberties.
Cabbies and shit.
But if you take that logic, then every single law enforcement officer, every single fireman already are slaves. Because in the United States, I actually have an article, I can find it real quick, but there was a time where fire safety via the way we understand the job of a fireman was done in the same way that medicine is done right now, where a lot of it was by insurance. There were instances where a fireman would come to a burning house, see if you were a paying customer, and if you weren't, leave. And under Michael's framework, that's a better world. I don't fucking agree.
Except, of course, like, that ignores, like, the house next door that maybe is a paying customer that would like preventative care in addition to reactive. Like, I don't know. That doesn't it doesn't seem to be, again, with a libertarian mindset, it doesn't seem to be an ideal state of being if I don't know, is it more liberty to have your house burned down and have to pay for it out of pocket each time that there's this problem? Like, I know it doesn't feel like
that because under Michael's framework, being constrained monetarily is not an injunction on your personal liberty. This is also why he doesn't have a problem with capitalism. The idea of constraining someone monetarily is not a problem. Also, I actually found the quote specifically or not the quote, but the portion from this article. The original fire safety system was soon exposed as terribly flawed, as rival brigades often ignored burning buildings once they discovered that it had no insurance policy with their company. Eventually, a solution was agreed upon in which all the insurance companies would supply money and equipment to a municipal authority charged with stationing fire prevention assets and firefighters equally around the city to respond to all fires. This did not solve the problem entirely, as the brigade still tended to favor saving insured buildings to those without any insurance at all.
Yeah.
But
there's a good scene in New York that does this, that shows literally this happening.
But it's like, whenever... This is the reason why during the debate, to be fair, I don't have the same rhetorical skills as Michael, and I would probably agree that I did not actually come as prepared as I should have to the debate. So as far as the debate structure, I'm perfectly fine accepting that I lost the debate. Now, do I still think I'm right? Yes, I don't think Michael was terribly convincing. But as far as, like, the flow of a debate, I'm perfectly fine going, yeah, I lost that because I didn't perform as well, but debate is 60 to 70% theater.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Also, where is it? I had the source for that quote, and it's pulling up with a lovely, "This site can't be reached." Come on, Opera, please work with me.
Oh.
I like sourcing the shit I say. It's kind of important to me.
Facts. How dare you? Jake, can you be my dad IRL? No, but I can say dad-like stuff like, "Hey, I'm really proud of you, champ."
Oh wow, I wish my dad had ever said that to me.
Yeah, same.
That doesn't sound very dad-like to me. To me, that just
no.
That sounds like what cartoons told me my dad should be.
You're right. That's pretty much what I did. I was pretending because my dad was like, "Why are you playing a girl in a video game?" And I was like, I just picked the I don't know. It's Nintendo. It's not really like that sophisticated of a gaming machine. Wait until 2020, dude. Which you won't be able to. You're dead now. You haven't called me a slur, so you don't sound at all like my dad. Wow. Wow.
You haven't talked to me 3 days after I called you on Father's Day, apologizing to me for not getting to the phone. So I don't think you're my dad. I wish I was joking. That was Father's Day this year.
My dad was like, "Go ahead, commit suicide. It'll just be another burden. Do you want to do that to your mom?" Wow. Wow.
Don't be a dad like that. Just say things that most dads would say, like, "I'm really disappointed in you."
I'm really disappointed. I'm gonna go get a pack of smokes, and I won't stream for 8 years.
Look, it's not that the milk was more important than you 8 years ago. It's that a lot of stuff happened after I got the milk. Actually, I'm not even sure if I got the milk in the first place. It might have just been condoms. By the way, this is why me and your mom divorced.
Oh, that's sad.
Is this true dadding?
Too real. Too real. Thanks for following, Omega. Libertarians in general, I don't think, have a very good grasp on how to apply any situation that is outside of the extremely privileged viewpoint of themselves. I don't like this guy. I don't think has experienced abject poverty. You know what I mean?
And even if he did, like, I could even grant that maybe he did, because I don't know his personal life story aside from the fact that he can apparently afford college, which would have been nice. Not gonna lie, but I will be perfectly honest. Even if I assume that he has experienced abject poverty, it is. I have to assume one of two things. Either you haven't, which would be your position, probably hasn't, and therefore just doesn't know, or I could even grant that maybe he has and just thinks that everyone should suffer as he did, which again sounds like my dad.
Yeah, the old we can't forgive student loan debt because I had to pay mine off. Pretty much the same exact.
We shouldn't emancipate the slaves because that spits on every slave that died in slavery. It wouldn't be fair to their memory to emancipate the slaves coming up afterwards, right? That's the argument against getting rid of student debt. That's all that argument is.
Yeah, it's pretty dog shit. I don't know. There's a thing. For a little bit this year, I had some extra time, so I was like, you know what? I'll pick up a little extra gig, and I tried my hand at some postal work for a little bit, and that ended up taking too much time, so I just quit. But it was very interesting to go back to the workforce for a little bit, because I'm a glutton for punishment. But there's a lot of conservative people in the small town that I worked in, and I heard the following exact, like, this was like a sentence. The initial thought was, I can't believe that people would vote for someone like Bernie Sanders because all they want is free, and things cost money, and they're just so entitled. And then basically right after that was, I cannot believe how much insurance costs. If it costs any more than it does right now, my husband would be dead because we couldn't afford it.
So there's a couple of things that are really interesting when you encounter somebody like that. First of all, they assume that we wouldn't be paying for the insurance.
I know. I don't know how their brains work.
I literally I was very lazy this year. I admit it. This was the first year that I had done YouTube full time for the entire year. Is just like, this is my one job. This is what I'm doing. Yeah. So I just had to go through the headache of filing taxes as a self-employed person.
I'm so sorry.
So I put that off for forever. Finally did it. And after getting it done, I'm like, well, wow, that's a weight off my shoulders. But then it popped into the back of my head. Wait a minute, hold on. Don't people bitch at me and say that we can't afford healthcare for everybody? Didn't I just fucking file taxes? What was I doing with those things anyway?
Well,
What was those?
nothing good right now. Not under
those-
this administration.
Were those taxes just going to kicking trans people out of the military and beating people with batons? Yeah, probably. Actually, this is America. To be fair.
You can survive COVID, but good luck surviving the medical debt. Can we survive COVID? We don't even, like, I don't know. There's not people not wearing fucking masks
We
because
got
they think
60,000 cases per day. Like,
I live in one of the better states. Michigan is doing well because Whitmer is listening to medical professionals. Surprise.
I live in Georgia and Kemp is
Oof.
not.
Yeah.
Nah,
Wow.
it's like So strangely enough, there are places that I am incredibly happy are like literally showing how you should be running a business while in the pandemic. Because I can understand the argument that like everything going into lockdown screws with everybody. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I get that. Like literally, your working class gets screwed by this. Cool, I can accept that. It's about structuring things in a way where we can still maintain safety. As for giggles, we decided to see what it was like at Six Flags, like what things they are doing to try to keep things protected. Because like the idea of a business trying to run like rides and shit like that with the pandemic seemed kind of hard for me to picture. How were they going to do this? It also doesn't help that like Six Flags memberships here are super cheap and they come with food. So like if you don't want to cook, you can just go to Six Flags and get food.
Wow.
But that is if you're willing to deal with the stuff they have set in. The way they have it set up at Six Flags right now dealing with COVID is there's temperature gauges everywhere reading your temperature, and they're automatic, and the mask policy is enforced everywhere, as is social distancing everywhere. If you're waiting for a ride, you stay 6 feet apart from everybody. The rides every 30 minutes shut down and get cleaned and sanitized for 10 minutes. And while that's super inconvenient for the park goers, it also means they don't die, which is,
I'm actually surprised Six Flags is taking so many precautions.
I was surprised too. I was actually like, we only went there for about 3 hours, enough to get food and enough to try out a ride and then just head home. But we were actually really surprised that they had so many precautions set up. Like you couldn't get into the park without a reservation, so they could make sure that they only had a certain number of people in the park.
Makes sense.
The food places were all set up differently. Like we've had our memberships for about a year and a half now, maybe. So well before the COVID stuff, we'd already eaten at most of the restaurants they had there. And I saw somebody in your chat say that park food is bad. Actually, Six Flags here has like 12 or 15 different restaurants that serve different types of food, which is really nice. It's not just like your stand deep fried park food all the time.
Yeah.
But the way they have the food set up is even different, because the way that they had it before, they'd serve it to you on a tray, and then you'd go take your tray to the trash can and set it down and dump your trash and leave. The way they have it set up right now is that they put all of everybody's stuff in individual boxes, and they cook it before you order. So they set up a bunch of boxes ready to just hand off to you, so they can get you out of the line as quick as possible. Which is, again, that one is actually more convenient for people, because your food might not be as fresh, but you're not stuck sitting in line. So again, like, I see businesses like that, and then in my local area, we've got Walmart, as effective as it may or may not be, has like the guidance stickers, like shop this way, shop this way. Like that's less effective than the temperature gauges and everything else, but I want to see more businesses take literally just Six Flags model and go, yeah, put temperature stations at the front of the store so you can check if people have an issue before they even walk in, enforce a mask policy when they're in, change the way you produce your stuff in the food to make sure people get in and get out fast, and just enforce social distancing. That's safer.
Yeah. I agree. I go to up here we have, it's sort of like a Walmart but nice, Meijer up here, and they have a system where like you walk into the vestibule. Thank you, McClippy, appreciate it. You walk into the vestibule area, and it's cordoned off so you can't like intermingle. All of the carts and everything are sanitized and set out. They do have the arrows on the ground. They have masks at the front.
Our local Target's doing that as well.
So you can buy them. And all the employees really feel strongly and enforce the mask policy. They have a union, though, that takes care of them, and they probably are informed rather than people at Walmart. But yeah, it's a I don't know. I've been seeing, luckily, more people wear masks than not in my area, so that's been nice because I sure would like to go do stuff someday. That would be fun. You guys remember doing stuff?
Doing stuff was neat. I'm sitting here as somebody who grew up literally in a card shop playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic the Gathering with people all the time from like age 10 to now, and I'm just sitting here going, man, I liked competing in tournaments. I liked playing cards with people. That was neat. I enjoyed that. Also, somebody in my chat, Star Raptor Flog, mentioned, what about essential businesses? How are you going to get into a store to buy food if you can't get in because of COVID? Luckily, in my area, now granted, I live in the metro Atlanta area, so we have a lot of options here. It's kind of the nature of being here. We've got gigabit internet and all kinds of stuff that just helps you function. Even out living in the woods like I do, because there are a few pockets of that, we can actually do Instacart here. And if you order above like $35, so like if you're ordering all the food for your week, they waive your delivery fee, which is, neat.
We have,
not everybody can afford the surcharge that Instacart puts on everything, but if you are sick, you can have a healthy person go get all of your food, bring it to you, and you can even tell them on the app, hey, please place the food like in front of the door, and don't interact with me. Like, don't talk to me.
Don't even, which is great. I've been doing a lot of DoorDash, Grubhub type stuff, which I use the pass, so you have to spend. I'm fortunate enough to be able to spend the $10 a month to not spend the surcharge on stuff, because there's places around. But you can also get grocery delivery from a lot of places. If you check the app, and a lot of times there is no fee, or there's a $2 fee, and it's basically kind of the same amount of money you might go if you go there. And if you're anything like me, sometimes you make impulse buys if you actually walk through the store, so you actually save money if you just get the essentials and stuff. I really like doing that. It's I don't know, there's some conveniences that have sprung up out of this that I think will carry over to make the consumer experience better in the long run. But I mean, just like, there's several people in my chat. Crispy Broccoli was one of them. Like, remember going to a store without genuine, palpable fear? That was I never really trusted people near me, and not in like a paranoid, like I need to hold a gun on me at all times. But like, I just feel like most people are stupid, and I don't know if that's arrogant to say. I think like a lot of people are very, very stupid, especially in rural America where property taxes aren't that high. Our schools are pretty bad, and they live in the woods and listen to Fox News.
You just literally described my parents' place.
Yeah, in my hometown. And very rural. I literally grew up next to a farm. Yeah, it's just, so I've never really had a lot of confidence in other people's intellectual capabilities, and it's really shining, really, really shining during this time. So many people like, it's my freedom. It's like, no, it's mine. If you cough on me, my shit, not yours.
There's
like, I'm doing this for you.
There's a argument someone close to me had with a family member recently, and they threw it to me, and it was an argument against using masks in public. And they said, you should be responsible for your own health, because that's your responsibility. It's not mine. And I said, okay, but considering that we know there's a deadly virus out right now, that argument sounds to me like you fired a gun into the crowd and you said, it's not my responsibility that the bullet landed somewhere. It's not my fault somebody got hit. They shouldn't have been in a crowded area where there was a chance that their health could have been impacted.
It's almost like a revolver, and it maybe will have something in the chamber, and you're going and just spraying it. Maybe the gun goes off because maybe you have COVID. Maybe you caught it along the way and not wearing a mask.
There's a 2-week incubation period. Most people don't have an attention span, even a quarter of that.
Right. I saw a guy, actually, it was amazing. I went to self-checkout. I only had like a few items. went to self checkout. I was talking to the lady, the person that oversees it. It was this nicer, older lady, and I don't know, she had to come over to me for something.
Mhm.
And we're having a short conversation. It's very nice. And service people have a bad day, and I try to engage at least. And there was a guy next to me at the other stall, and he was this older guy. When he was at the thing, he was wearing a mask, and then he took the mask off and under his chin, and then he openly coughed like 4 or 5 times while going through and putting his groceries in the self-checkout. And she's like, well, great, now I have to fucking sanitize that whole thing.
Like,
and like this,
if he's
like,
just...
what is the point? I don't know. They're so stupid.
I don't understand that. It's like...
It's like wearing a life jacket and then taking it off when you get on the jet ski. You know what I mean? Like, why?
Like, I want to be more aerodynamic, so I took it off so that I would be more aerodynamic on the jet ski.
Yes.
Now, unfortunately, this also means I can now hit the water and sink lower much easier. But just ignore the fact that I can now sink like a rock in the middle of the ocean. That's not important. What's important is my freedoms.
Yeah, and now it's like the progression of this, and I wonder if it's a combination of just more cases and it hitting different systems and mutation. But now, like, there was a confirmed in South Carolina, a child died, confirmed. There's lots of young people that look like that one young girl. She was in like her 20s. She had to get like a double lobe transplant for her lungs. Like shit is not like the boomer remover as it was advertised as. I mean, it is, but it also, like, it's a frag grenade. There are and young people are on the outside of the radius here. You can still die from that shit. It's not good. It can affect you for the rest of your life. Like, I don't know, man. Respiratory disease does not sound fun.
You cannot simultaneously be because as somebody who is on the larger side, me specifically.
Me too.
I have heard many people argue that I should go out and run more. I should have done that more as a kid, that having those habits would have been better for me. It's really weird to hear those same styles of people argue that it's fine if the children get a respiratory illness, which could effectively mean that they can't actually do that running on track we told them to do, so that now we can just make fun of them for being fat later. I guess this is all just a recipe for allowing cruelty. Weird.
Yeah, I'm shocked that the ideas led by Republicans and conservatives in general will lead to more cruelty down the line. Wow. Fucking surprise.
Yeah, surprise. Here we are. Also, I got a super chat from Real Lock on my end. It was 40 minutes ago, and I've been doing this long enough to know that I am really bad at looking at my super chats. It was from $5. Old school, the Bible Reloaded is one of the things that made me an atheist and not a deist. So cool.
I'm glad that you enjoyed it. We have thankfully the age has allowed us to be less edgy but still informative. So that's good.
That tends to happen to everybody who's not Richard Spencer.
Isn't that weird? I don't know. The idea of being edgy, because when you're young, you haven't heard that shit before, and you don't understand the implications of a lot of the stuff. And I don't think we ever said anything like hardcore hateful, but definitely enough to where I wouldn't say it today. A lot of stuff. And Hannah and I had to talk about this before, and I don't know. Like, this goes still into the conversation that we're having. Just the idea of harm reduction is really appealing. And it seems like as we grow, we should probably try to be not as exclusive, but as inclusive as possible as we move forward. Just because, like, the happier everybody else is, and the more positive the experience, the better for everyone involved. And not even just like even if it's just like a really cynical, I make more money doing this. Like if you're broadly, not super offensive to everybody involved, like, more people can enjoy your shit. I don't know. I'm glad that a lot of people also, we have since you haven't been doing this for nearly as long.
No. About 2.5 years.
Yeah, but I'm sure you were aware of the YouTubers, and I'm glad that we in our community were able to avoid the anti-SJW part of the arc. It seems that internet atheism went through. I don't know why that happened, but well, I do have I know why-ish, but it's like it's still sad, I guess.
Money is a wonderful factor in a lot of that. Granted, so during a lot of that, I was still 2016. I technically still kind of considered myself Christian-ish. I was in this like weird phase where I heard Bible Reloaded, Cult of Dusty, and Amazing Atheist as like whispers on the wind every now and again, and that was about it. I discovered Atheist YouTube after I actually became an atheist. And then actually when the first Faithless Forum happened, I got to meet a lot of the YouTubers who I actually enjoyed, so that was cool.
I remember going to those events and liking the people there. Man, that was fun.
Well, I can't say that I hated anybody from those events afterwards.
I don't go to Faithless Forum, but yeah.
Well, I know that like MythCon went down.
I got disinvited from MythCon for not being a chud.
I mean, true. To be fair, it does seem that for the most part, they are Chud Central now, and just
they are terrible.
They've thrown logic to the wind and accepted intuition, which is really weird.
It's not even good intuition. That's the thing. Like you can intuit correctly, they just don't.
You see, you get.
But I agree.
It's weird because you've got people who go, we don't need critical thinking skills. We have common sense.
No, you don't.
No, we don't. My grandma tried telling me that a few months ago, and I'm just like, you realize, granted, bear in mind, she grew up in the American South, and that does not lead you to having the best of educations usually. I did too, so I would know. I'm an idiot. But in our conversation, when she said, everybody's got common sense, people just don't have common sense anymore. And I was like, Grandma, you do realize that common sense is just whatever biases you happen to step into for like the first 18 years of your life. Like the idea for me, I grew up as like the one white kid in the ghetto. So the idea that some people have is like, I know it's racist. There's a lot of people who have this idea though, that you should step on the other side of the road if there's like a group of black people on one end walking towards you. And I'm just like, yeah, but that never became common sense to me because that's all there was around me. I only knew black people. That's all I had in Montclair. So there was no option on the other side of the road. That didn't exist. So that's not part of my common sense. There are other racist things that I did believe that have thankfully been mostly beaten out. But like that idea, some people call that common sense. I don't. I can't.
Yeah. Ronnie with a dono says, flashback to that time I stopped watching the Bible Reloaded because you were too big of, quote, lib cuck SJWs. Even though I thought all brothers, God, I was pathetic. I actually heard a lot of that shit. A lot of people who there was God, probably in that 2016, 2017 area where we were like, yeah, this is stupid and Donald Trump is bad and here's why, and then like all the stuff. Like there's a bunch of people like, oh, you're just SJW cucks. And it's like, I mean, not like really. Like it's just like common sense. Like I'm not out here like advocating for anything that you think is particularly wild. It's just like pretty straightforward. And it's like, so we lost a lot of those people, and then a lot of those people ended up coming back and apologizing and being like, "Yeah, that was a mistake. That's bad."
I've only had that happen. Granted, I've not been on the platform as long, so like there haven't been as many cultural shifts for the time I've been here. But I think, if memory serves, I think that only happened once for me, and there was one guy that I had to kick out of my live stream chats after several weeks of him just being an absolute chud fuck. And then he had who this person was left my memory. It just is not a person I remembered anymore. Like if you brought his name up to me, I could call everything, but like this person didn't live rent free in my mind. And then I go onto Amino of all places, and there's a very small bread tube amino that I went in just to see what was going on in there. Hopped into one of the chats, and the guy was like, "Holy shit, are you actually the real Cyrus?" I was like, I mean, yeah, why? And then he was like, "Hey, I'm such and such. You banned me from your chat like months ago, and I've since started a YouTube channel and realized I was a fucking asshole." And I'm just like, "Wait, you started a small breadtube channel after I kicked you out for chutting?" Okay.
People are again. This is why I think people are kind of dumb. A lot of people are very intellectually fickle like that, where they just sort of, and I think it has to do with age. Usually, they're younger people. Where you're trying to, being young can suck. You're trying to figure out who the fuck you are. You got all sorts of these sudden responsibilities happening. Like the world is a lot bigger and scarier than it was in high school, and you still have that sort of clique mentality. And I gotta say, the right, especially in 2016, was very, in that sort of the bordering years, they were pretty seductive with that, like, hey, whoever you are, come on over here. We can say whatever we want and do whatever we want.
Welcome to BitChute, everybody, where your careers can die.
Yeah, it was just sort of that, the very Milo Yiannopoulos, like, I have sex with black guys. I can't be racist, but I can still say the N-word, like, buddy. And so, yeah, and there was that sort of like coming out of the mentality of like the 2000s of like things being just sort of blasé and cool and stuff like that, and now like kind of being cool is like being inclusive and being nice to people and like wholesomeness and like being well read and enjoying intellectual pursuits and stuff. And so the zeitgeist shifted really fast with social media, and I don't think we were ready for this fucking like, I don't know, this rupture in the social fabric. It was very strange. Like, we have gone through a very weird 8 years, guys. It's been like history books should and will be written about the last 4 years of the Obama administration and the first 4 years of the Trump administration, and then all the shit that happened in the world during those times. Like, it's been a lot of stuff.
It's very weird to consider the fact that when somebody asks, like, hey, what did you do during the race riots of 2020 during the pandemic, is a thing somebody's legitimately going to ask you in 20 years. And you're just like, I had my therapist ask me, because I said that I was going to be doing a video on the George Floyd stuff, which ended up being many videos because people like the Hodge twins and Candace Owens just couldn't shut their fucking faces. So I ended up doing several videos on it, and my therapist was like, this seems to be taking a toll on you. Why are you doing this? It's not like you have to. And I'm like, well, it's not that I have to. It's that in 10 years, when I finally have a kid and they're going into history class, and they're seeing this stuff for the first time, probably not in 10, probably in 20 at that point. And
Sure.
They're just like, hey, Dad, what did you do when this all happened? I didn't want to be the person that just said, well, I was in a position where I could have done a lot as a YouTuber and influencer, and I just didn't.
Yeah.
That's not the thing I want to say.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I kind of look at it like a, what's that word? Kind of, not legacy, but just leaving it behind for other people, where it's like we could have been right earlier, I guess. I don't know. Like if I can make an argument and it persuades you in some way to be nicer to somebody, or to be kinder, or to be accepting of someone, even if you don't necessarily understand it, like they're an atypical gender, or they have a sexuality you can't really wrap your head around, or whatever's going on there. Like, that's a good thing. And it's one less person that is going to be shitty to that person, or people like them in the future. And hopefully that person will advocate for that as well. Like, we have to, specifically what the thing is right now with the BLM and being white and not part of the community, is less of advocating or centering yourself in the conversation and like, stop being racist, guys. And more of a stop being complicit in racism. stop, like, when that uncle is there and he's saying something on Facebook, don't let that go unchallenged. Like, actually challenge it, even if it's gonna, like, as long as you have the mental capacity and emotional space for it. But, like, I do. So you hit back, and we don't just let this shit slide anymore, because we used to.
I think I'm not sure how familiar you are with Innuendo Studios.
Yeah.
There was something he said in one of his videos. I can't remember which one it is specifically. But he said the difference between somebody on the left and somebody on the right usually is that somebody on either side can agree with, like, the ills of the world, injustice, low wages, bigotry, stuff like that. You can get them to agree that those are bad things sometimes. The problem that you really run into is somebody on the right usually says, well, that's just how the world works. And then somebody on the left will go, well, why does it have to be?
Yeah, totally agree. I think we forget that and I try to explain this to people, and sometimes it breaks through, sometimes it doesn't. Like, the way that society is, and the sort of foundations of it, and the ideas that you're going to run with, we made that up. We can unmake that up. It's literally imaginary. It feels really real because we're, like, role playing in it, but, like, we could not do whatever we don't want to do collectively and just go, you know what? Let's do this other thing and do that. We could literally delete money and just give everybody whatever they wanted whenever they wanted it. I
mean, when you consider the fact, let's say you're having a on the topic of the things we've socially constructed in LARP.
Yeah.
If you're having a debate with somebody and they try to say that, gender can't be a social construct, look, it's real, just respond with, money can't be a social construct, look, it's real. Right. It's the same. We agreed on what money is worth, at least. At least somebody somewhere agreed on it, and everybody else had to accept it at some point. Yay, capitalism. Yeah. Supply side economics, the best kind of. Not really. It's not good. But those things are all things that we socially agreed on. We agreed that we should use money instead of a bartering system. Economically, of course, we can still trade Pokemon cards. That's fine. But those things, I think you hit the nail on the head when it's we've LARPed those things for so long that's just how things are. It's how things always need to be, according to some people, but it doesn't have to be. Like, I'm okay with the mere concept of money. I just don't think it should be abused in the way that it is right now. I don't at all. The current system that we are using literally takes all the power away from the proletariat at the bottom and puts it in the power of everybody at the top. If somebody says, I'm going to buy all these milk cartons for 50 cents from the local farmer, and instead of reselling them for $2, effectively making my money back, paying my employees, and also paying me, they say, I'm going to sell the milk for $15. And then you manage to get everybody around you to agree that milk is now $15. Your working class has to accept that it's $15 now. They don't actually have a say in that.
Yeah, which of course would
sucks.
Fall apart. Or, well, they'd buy soy milk, which is better. But, and doesn't make me poo-poo. Regular milk makes me poo-poo. Lava, basically. It's basically lava. Frost Kane asks, who I assume is not a lefty, maybe. I don't know. Maybe you're a centrist. Fence right down the middle of your butthole. Why can't you have views on either side? This is a really good question, and I understand especially if you're an American, this is a thing you hear a lot. Why can't you have views on either side? Like, I don't think that anyone on the left or right wants views on the other side. But the discourse is important, and you have to talk through it and everything. But the idea here is that while I guess there's a few things. You overvalue opinions. Opinions are opinions. Opinions are not immutable or unapproachable or unimpeachable. They are, in fact, opinions. You can have the opinion that a black person is inherently inferior. It's not just your opinion, man. You're a racist. A lot of people go, well, I'm just having an opinion. No. You're just wrong about a thing. So the right is, hilariously, the right is wrong. Conservatives are incorrect about a variety of things. Most of it is demonstrable, and most of it is very harmful. And so the argument is, why can't we have viewpoints from both sides? Is one of them's just plain wrong. Now, that doesn't mean that later on you won't have still a right and left. It's just that the zeitgeist has moved, and kind of the obvious answer to a lot of these problems has moved to the left of the political spectrum. But within the left, I don't know if you're a part of the left, then you have the real important conversations. How should we, say, reorganize wealth? How should we organize housing? How should we organize our society? How should we have a government? How should we do borders? Should we have borders? Are cops good? In what way should law enforcement exist? Should it exist at all? Should we have no, like, how libertarian, how authoritarian are we? So there is still arguments from both sides. It's just that the correct side is the left, and then within that you have stratification to the left, right, north, and south. Do you agree or disagree? I think that's
so.
Pretty much...
I think the only problem I have with that framework is that it requires as a foundation a particular spectrum for right and left, and I think that most of our spectrums, like the line spectrum, is obviously bunk. It's stupid. Yeah. That's what Ben Shapiro uses to go, look, the left is obviously all authoritarianism, and the right is obviously everything over there is obviously all freedom. You can't get more freedom and then suddenly end up in fascism. That's not how that works. You can't. So we obviously can't use that framework. You can't really use the political compass framework because that only gradients somebody. Two people that plot exactly the same on the political compass might disagree on several things that would have plotted them elsewise. And even doing like a 3-layered structure for that, where you take, here's social, here's class out this way, here's economic conversations this way, and try to plot people that way, even that doesn't work. So like
in a 3D cube, that's kind of nice.
So I want, like, intuitively, I do agree that most facts tend to have a bit of a left-leaning bias. So when you talk about something like gender, most of what we understand as the left has a different view of gender than people on the right wing, and that view, I think, is more accurate. We have data and research to show that that's more accurate. When you have views on economics, you look at how conservatism was formed in France, and literally it was just a bunch of what was the middle class there going, how do we stop the proletariat from fucking us over when the nobles lose all their power? I know. We'll say that the nobles got their power via divine right of kings, and therefore they're the bad guys, but also the good guys. That's the birth of conservatism, everybody. So, like, on one hand, I do kind of agree that, by and large, most of the facts do lean with the left. I think the only problem, though, is whatever we consider right and left is based on a foundation of how we can even plot these things, and none of them are like nightmarishly accurate. Like the compass isn't super accurate. I forget who did. There's a video on this. It's from a smaller channel. He's got like 10K subs, but I can't remember his name. But it was called The Problem with the Political Compass, and he goes through like every different way we've tried to plot politics. Starting with the line, then going to the compass, then going onward, and showed like the problems with each and every one, deconstructing them down. And that's kind of where I have the problem of, I want to agree, because by and large what we consider left-leaning opinions seem to be the more accurate ones, but the foundation is kind of rickety.
Yeah, I don't even know how to make it more sturdy, I guess. Like a three-dimensional model where it's a cube and you kind of rotate it and look around is kind of a nice visual in my head, but it might not be something that we can actually, it might just be a series of data points that might not be able to be plotted on a graph, but it's just values, kind of like what are those this essential 6 ones, I don't remember what it's called, but those other the ones that don't put you on a graph, but rather they just tell you like you're more authoritarian, you're more libertarian and stuff.
Yeah, and I also just found the YouTube channel. It's Halim Al-Ra, which I don't know if I'm mispronouncing that. 25.5K subs. I actually just sent you on Discord the video itself if you want to watch it later. But it actually breaks down the problem with how we view the political compass really well, and I think it's really accurate. It's really informative.
That's very cool. That person asked again, having views or stances on a multitude of topics, regardless of the line of sanity draw. I mean, like, a lot of people have different stuff, but most of the things that we argue about between what we consider the modern left and modern right there's not middle ground. Like, there's not middle ground to human rights violations. There's not middle ground to like should the gays exist? You know what I mean? Later on, again, as you move left towards what I think most people that are informed consider the correct answers they tend to be what we consider left leaning. Then you get the nitty gritty stuff, like how to organize that kind of shit. But I think abortion is only interesting because people don't understand biology.
I think abortion is incredibly interesting for one reason. It allows me to fantasize about what could have been.
I suppose.
There are certain people, like Ben Shapiro, who I would generally argue the difference between them and an abortion is a missed opportunity.
Yes.
So I think that's where I find that interesting. The other thing is that just in general, arguments about abortion seem really weird when 9 times out of 10 they come from a super Christian framework, and it's like, isn't your God the one that killed thousands of babies in a flood? That's your guy, right? That's your guy?
I do hear some people make a secular argument for life that I don't think is very compelling, but it always ends with, but I still think you should have the right to an abortion, so it effectively doesn't matter. So
yeah. I've heard a few secular ones. There was one girl Destiny. I'm not familiar with Destiny's. I'm familiar with Hunter Avalon's. I've done a video against his, and we talked about our disagreements on that on my stream. Yeah. And there was one that was framed not unlike Hunter's during a debate with Matt Dillahunty. Nat took the side of pro-abortion, she took the side of anti-abortion, and they had their debate. But I don't find those arguments terribly convincing. So, like, they're and even then, at least with Hunter's, his ended with you should have your right to an abortion. That's a thing you should do. With the debate with Matt Dillahunty, that one, if memory serves, it's been a few years since I've seen it. I think her stance was that legally abortion shouldn't be allowed at all. So there actually are some secular arguments that lean into the more authoritarian structure against women. They're rare, though.
I don't really understand. Someone like a Ben Shapiro, for instance, doesn't comprehend his authoritarianism, or like a John Doyle.
I think it's I'm trying to think. It might be closer to a John Doyle, where like, because John's whole shtick is a fancification of the 1950s. Yeah, that they were this perfect wonderland, and Leave It to Beaver was an accurate representation of morality.
Black people couldn't get home loans. You couldn't marry who you loved. Yeah, stuff like that.
It was great. You could fire a black person for being an N-word. It was fine. That's what you could do back then, apparently. Actually, yeah. Civil Rights Act was 1964, so yes, actually, that was a thing you could do. BT Dubs, Michael Moreno, when we had our debate, he actually thinks that the Civil Rights Act of 1964 in its entirety was immoral.
Yep. Which, again, we went over it when we watched this video. That is just asinine.
Yeah, I was very concerned when I got to that point. So I'm like, okay, so we're literally just dealing. This isn't coded in the flavors of John Doyle, but this is basically that.
Mm-hmm.
That's yikes.
Because he doesn't seem to understand that, like, and again, this is his personal liberty shit, but he doesn't understand that someone will exert their prejudice on someone to limit their freedom, like they just do. That's why those protections exist. Because we saw rampant use of that. It's
the whole, these things work in the world of the hypothetical, and they're all cool and fine in the world of the hypothetical. But as soon as you bring them to reality, there are more people that suffer. And I don't think, granted, I know the mistake I made in my debate with Michael where this is concerned. I didn't actually press him on his definition of harm. That was that was my mistake. Because
How
if
would
you can,
define it?
yeah, how do I personally define harm?
Yeah.
Personally, I think harm is anything that negatively affects somebody can be seen as harmful. So like firing somebody is harmful. What
Yeah.
we don't argue whether or not something or whether or not firing somebody is or isn't harmful. We argue whether or not it was justified. The harm can be minor. Like I can get a paper cut, and that's harm. That's minor. I could also get a sword wound, and that is, of course, more harmful, though maybe actually less painful. I've had some pretty bad paper cuts, all things considered. Depending, I guess
I think that changes on day 2. I think day 2 the sword hurts worse.
from day 2 the sword might hurt worse unless I. But see, the paper cut, I will forget I have it, and I will sanitize my hands in rubbing alcohol, and then suddenly it hurts more.
Get to, yeah.
But no, with I think a lot of that stuff ends up boiling down to my definition of harm is decently broad. Michael's definition of harm is very, very thin and narrow in that it only deals with the physical. But strangely enough, there's a thing that happened during the discussion portion of our debate where he said that PTSD does not count, but then admitted that he doesn't have a very thorough understanding of PTSD. And I pointed out to him during, I'm like, that's like saying chopping off somebody's legs doesn't harm them. Like, PTSD is a physical manifestation. Like, your amygdala actually grows in size. It stops being able to determine if fight or flight is actually necessary in a given scenario.
But even beyond that, he doesn't... the brain is physical.
Yes, the brain is physical. Your individual thoughts may exist only in the aether after they've been thought, but everything below that point, your synapses and everything...
Chemicals and electro impulse, I mean, they're real, and as an organ, it exists. How can you not think mental anguish is, in fact, in whatever way it manifests, you're just having a bad day and you're sad, like your favorite character died in a show, or, like, you have PTSD. Like, these are obviously very different things, but still, genuinely you feel them.
His position on that is informed. I say informed. That's a really... I'm using that term super fast and loose here. But it's informed by the idea of harm as presented in Stoicism. Because in Stoicism, mental harm is something that you accept onto yourself. Think...
you choose to be offended.
Yes, that Christopher Hitchens actually said the exact same thing in during his run.
Hitchens wouldn't have survived the meme wars.
No, not really. There's a lot of things that Hitchens did say that I like, one of which is libertarianism is the strange philosophy that Americans on the whole should be more selfish as a rule.
Yeah.
That's weird.
He also said we should go bomb Afghanistan.
He also said women aren't funny, so there's hits and misses with Hitchens.
Did he die before Bridesmaids came out? Come on. One of the all-timers.
But where Michael's thing is concerned, he tries to marry Stoicism and libertarianism to come to his positions. And I think that's kind of where the problem is, because Stoicism, as it was understood by the Greeks and Romans, was well before we had our understandings of how the brain works now. We weren't able to do the types of studies into the brain that we are able to do right now. Like, I have a headache. Oh, just ignore it. And then, like, when you do the autopsy, you find out there was a brain hemorrhage. Like, that's a thing we can do now. We can do scans on the brain to see when there are portions that are lighting up more often than they should, portions that are enlarged or swollen more than they should. Like, somebody can be having a lot of pain leading them to have a bad mood. You can tell them to have all the self-control in the world. It doesn't change the fact that they might have a brain tumor, and there's no way back in that day to really know. So a lot of his ideas are based in a time where we didn't have a good understanding of mental health. So as a result, he doesn't have any understanding of mental health. I think he needs to be educated on that. The other problem is that there are certain concepts in Stoicism that are directly opposed and in conflict with ideas in libertarianism. One of the ideas in Stoicism is the idea of justice, the idea that you actually... It is better for you to sacrifice from yourself in order to make the world a more just place, in order to make the world a better place. That's one of Epictetus's ideas for Stoicism from 1500 years ago. That idea is in direct conflict with the basis of libertarianism, which is hands off and I'm okay.
Yeah, true. What was that? This guy came back. You can see and agree with topics on both sides. See, I think so I think much like Michael's inability to understand mental health, and again, I'm not trying to be an asshole or dismissive of people that find appeal on the right. I think the best part about the right and their politics is they're very good at branding. I think they're very good at making things sound very simple and cut and dry. Christians are good at this too. Like, evolution's so complicated. What if God just did it? You know what I mean? And that's appealing to a lot of people. Not to me, but a lot of people. And they do this thing that is often very appealing, where you could just say someone is causing this problem, and if you get rid of those people, in this case Mexicans, fascists do this a lot, and that's why a lot of people on the left, you see someone on the right say something and go, well, that's pretty fucking fashy. A lot of scapegoating, a lot of propaganda. Make America great again. What does that even mean? Like, what is that thing? It just makes you feel good it makes your tinglies jingle. You know what I'm saying? So there's lots of stuff like that. So, but a lot of things that, like, a lot of people say, well, I'm socially, pretty left. I'm fine with gay people. I'm an ally of trans people. I don't want anyone to be poor, but I'm fiscally conservative, which means basically I care, but not enough to act.
But see, that's. I used to find that particular position. That used to be my position, like, years ago.
Right. I used to think that, like, because I think we were liberals, right?
The problem with that position, though, is that being socially on the left but fiscally on the right, many of your social ills on the left come from class conflict.
Yeah, exactly.
Which means that
point.
if you agree fiscally with the right, then by the principle of entailment, the oppression that you're not for on the left ends up happening anyway. It's like saying, I'm fiscally left, but socially conservative. Okay, so wait, where did you get this idea that it was okay to be better to other classes if you're socially conservative, where classism is okay?
Right. I don't think most people are. I don't know that there is a person that's fiscally left and socially conservative.
I don't know if one I don't know if one exists, but I think that the idea is as paradoxical as the socially left and fiscally conservative one, where when you actually start boiling things down, it's very hard to maintain that position. Like, I'm if somebody says, like, 1964, I agree with this left-wing principle. We need to not fire black people in the workplace. They should be able to have jobs, and that's fine. You go, okay, well, where's that coming from?
I don't like affirmative action.
It's like, but I don't think affirmative action is needed. And then you go,
yeah.
And then you go, well, hold on, wait a second. So you're agreeing we should level the playing field, but you're not agreeing we should do anything to get the people who are not on the level playing field yet there in the first place. It's like saying that, I don't know if you've ever done like a Super Smash Brothers tournament before, but it's like saying everybody in this tournament has an equal shot. This guy over here has been practicing under. I'm trying to think of the list of Smash Brothers competitive players who are not pedophiles now, and it's
in the Smash Dojo. There we go. It's free. It's fine.
There we go. He's been practicing over there for years, making sure that he's got his fox down perfectly. And then you've got, like, little Timmy here, who came in after a month of he bought Melee a month ago. He's coming to the tournament. He's ready to play. He's got his Bowser ready. And then he wonders why you don't have items in Final Destination. These two do not actually have an equal shot at this tournament. Timmy needs some training. Like, in an ideal world, this person who's been practicing for 2 years could take a couple weeks out, or even just a few hours before the tournament, and sit down with Timmy and go, hey, let's work on your fundamentals. You need to know how to tech. You need to know how to fight. You need to stop rolling. That's why you're dying so much. Just those little things.
starting to really get narrow into the Smash portion of the viewership.
For like the 2 Smash fans in the viewership, they're just like, yeah, I get it. But in an ideal world, you bring that person up and then go, okay, now the playing field is actually more even because everybody has an equal ability to compete now. But that's not what happens. Like, I used to be a tournament operator during Smash 4, and what actually tended to happen was your players came in because they knew that they would guarantee to be able to win money, and if they were guaranteed to be able to win money, they wouldn't train anybody because they weren't there to have a good fight. They were there to win cash.
Yeah.
And it upset me as a tournament operator because when you're having to hand over prize winnings to the same person every week, you're just like,
come on, bro.
I'm just like, dude, you can take some time to just talk about it. Tell this kid to stop playing Ganondorf at least, please.
And I think they also have a problem with sort of symptoms. They don't know how to. Their order of operations is wrong. They don't PEMDAS their way through social ills. Like, they think poor people do crime. They don't think people do crime because they're poor. You know what I mean? Like,
it's like the 1350 thing, where they're just like I'm fairly certain you know what that means.
1350. Wait. Is that one? Wait. Hold on. Is that the we must protect our white children one?
No, that's 1488.
That's 1488.
Numbers.
I forget their dog whistling number. What they actually mean. But yeah.
So 1350. I'll say the whole dog whistle.
Okay, dog whistle time.
It's time for me to say a dog whistle so that people can identify it later. Despite making up 13% of the population, African Americans are responsible for 50% of the violent crimes. That's the 1350 meme. So you get people like that, and you're just like, well, hold on, wait a second. When we talk about crime, we're not talking about the bad things people have done. We're talking about the bad things that the government says are bad, that people have been caught doing. That is what a crime is. This is not saying a violent crime is suddenly not a good thing. This is just, let's use proper framing.
Right.
When you look at the history of police work and see how much of it has been oppressive onto black people, even if we accept the FBI statistic to be correct, which it is correct, accepting that statistic instead of going and saying, now that we have this information, we can conclude black people are violent, it is instead better, I think you would agree, to look at that and go, well, why did we get here? What got us to this position where these numbers are even considered accurate? How did we get here? I had a
conversation with my mom about this, and her light bulb went off, and she's in her 60s.
Mm-hmm.
And she finally, when I got to the part where it's like, okay, so the civil rights happened. This is how old you were when civil rights were a thing, and black people could get like fucking home loans and not be fired for things. How do you the big thing is, how do you decide school funding? It was property taxes. And then she goes, oh, that's why the schools are often getting defunded, and that's why the education sucks, and that's why some neighborhoods don't have any education, and that's why they ended up having to do some more crime than usual. And I was like, and what happens when you have a bunch of poor people that don't have any upward mobility and they're doing crime? What's the response? Well, you over police it. So now you're going to have a skewing in the data that shows, because, you know, if you have a kid stealing cookies from a cookie jar and the other kid is not stealing cookies from the cookie jar, you're going to stay up and watch and make sure that the kid doesn't steal cookies from the cookie jar. And you're going to catch that kid, but you're not watching the other kid. The other kid could be stealing just as many cookies, but you're only watching one of them. Or you're watching them more.
Mm-hmm.
And because you over police and you're there more often, of course you're going to catch people tripping up more often, especially in poor neighborhoods where, you know, you got to sell weed to get by sometimes. You got to do stuff to get by, or you have to sell cigarettes, which is just terrible. So we got to choke that guy out and kill him. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
That's
he doesn't
horrible.
they don't have money to go to the amusement park, so his mom gave him like a squirt gun or an airsoft rifle or whatever the fuck it was, and so he goes play in the park alone, and then he gets shot in a drive-by by the cops, you know, stuff like that. This is how that works. Like you over police, of course you're going to catch more crime. Of course. We do crime. I crime every day, probably. I probably do one, at least speed, or like I don't have my seatbelt on when I'm on the road necessarily. I might pull out of my driveway, then put it on. That's a crime. Like I might be looking at my phone on the road. I might be lots of driving infractions on my part. Don't drive. I don't know what else is illegal, but it's legal to smoke weed here, but I did it before it was legal. And I can guarantee you I wasn't worried about getting pinched by the cops. I'm very white.
I played Mario 64 on an emulator. I should be in jail.
Ooh, yeah. I'm actually thinking about getting Xbox 360 emulator pretty soon.
Oh, neat. Hypothetically in Minecraft, of course.
Hypothetically in Minecraft, so I can hypothetically play some video games that I haven't been able to play a long time and that are overpriced because of the demand for them on the internet. So.
I may hypothetically be getting a Raspberry Pi system to potentially glue to the back of one of the monitors in my community room. But I also may hypothetically be getting a 3D printed Nintendo 64 case for it so that it will look like an N64. And
then you can hypothetically play every single game ever made for the N64.
Yes, and hypothetically, you could also do it with N64 controllers that have USB outs instead of the proprietary outs, so that it feels functionally identical.
I have a Raspberry Pi, and I was thinking maybe I should get a case for it. Maybe I should. I have a buddy that has a 3D printer, and he's really good at it. And I should have him do like a Super Nintendo or something. That'd be fun. In Minecraft.
There's a. I have. So we're getting two potential systems, and I'm getting an N64 case. I'm trying to find because you can find PS2 cases and you can find Super Nintendo cases, all those. But I've not found a Raspberry Pi 360 case because I want to get that one for my partner, who ironically is also named Raz.
There you go.
She was a huge fan of a lot of older N64 and PlayStation games. And being able to play those with an old N64 controller plugged up to a 360 would just be like a tiny 360, like a 360 as big as my webcam, mind you. It would be cool.
Yeah, Raspberry Pis are, for those who don't know, are like this big. Very cool. Also, you can use them and send them overseas, and like children in far off places with little to no access to technology can use them. They're very efficient to learn on them and stuff. That's
their operating systems do not have a giant pull on processing power, and therefore they can actually be operated in suboptimal conditions way better than a Windows laptop and much cheaper.
Maybe we should do something like that for charity.
That actually would be a pretty good idea. Send pies overseas for education.
Throw a pie. They're not actually even expensive. I think like $10, $15.
It depends. I would personally want to get them Pi 4s because more stuff is going to be developed for the Pi 4. It just came out last year. A 2 GB model wouldn't be enough. You'd probably want to give them a 4 GB RAM model. And those cost about $60, $80.
That's still cheap.
$80 if you get them with a full kit that comes with the power cable, a case, fan, heat sinks, everything, so they can learn how to build it. So really just call it $80 each because you want to send them the full system. You don't want to just send them a chipset and say, here you go.
That'd be really cool. You guys have a Pi? I don't have a Pi store near me now.
I have a Best Buy here, and they sell pies.
I didn't know Pi stores existed. New Pi has 8 GB of RAM. That's getting beastly. I tried to put 32 gigs of RAM in my PC, and it blue screened. It was too powerful. It was telling the future, and it just couldn't deal with it.
I have an older motherboard that can't handle RAM sticks above 4 gigs each.
I just upgraded. Yeah.
Same. My current build has 32 gigs of well, actually, we'll do the PC thing where we compare builds now. It's like a dick measuring contest, only it's friendly.
Well, I had to take the other sticks of RAM out because this motherboard couldn't do it. So now it's at 16. RTX 2060. I have a Ryzen 7.
Okay.
I don't know.
That's the Ryzen 7's an octa-core, right?
Yeah, it's the 2700X. Okay. So it's this is a very good build. This is my best one. My last one was I think an i5.
That's about what I was. I was using an i5 in my last one as well.
Yeah.
We did a 24-hour, well, not 24 hours, more like a freaking 70-something hour stream, where it was me on my PC, and then at the end of my stream, it would go to my partner Rez, and then at the end of her stream, it would go to our partner Aaron, and at the end of her stream, it would go to mine again. And we were raising money for Black Lives Matter protests, and we found that all of our machines cannot handle streaming for that long, that often. At all. It's what led us to upgrading our PCs. When OBS is telling you, hey, you dropped 84% of your frames, how do you feel about that? You're just like, maybe it's time to upgrade this machine.
Yeah. This is beautiful. I really got it because I want to make the perfect cyber penis in Cyberpunk when it comes out. So I need every pixel to be on par, 4K or whatever.
You need every thread in the processor so it can get every singular vein.
Yes. Very vascular, my cyber penis will be. And we'll be doing that here on this stream. It's non-binary day and mac and cheese day? Well, I'm not non-binary, but I'll eat mac and cheese in your honor, NBs. Hey, put some cobbies in chat for our NB pals here tonight.
I do not have neat emotes as I'm streaming on YouTube. Sad face.
I thought they added emotes recently.
It's like... There are emotes, but they're not as expansive as the ones on Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
You can like super chat with stickers, which is neat.
Yeah, I've seen the stickers thing. We do some like unboxing streams on the YouTube stream. I don't really care for the streaming on YouTube.
It's
very much.
It's not terribly great, but I do have a larger audience for streaming over there. So if I'm not doing a gaming stream,
me too.
Stream over there. But if I'm doing a gaming stream, I'll do it on Twitch.
Yeah, we obviously have a bigger following on. I have under 10,000 followers here, on here, but I'm partnered, so it's going well. I just like Twitch as a user experience better, and so I decided that I will build it up and take the initial hit on monetary gain for content, but I do suggest it over time if you really enjoy it. Like streaming regularly, and that's a thing. Trying to build the Twitch up as well, especially because YouTube's a little bit fickle. But
yeah, that is a thing I need to do.
I've actually talked to people from Twitch, and I've never talked to someone from YouTube. So it's like, I don't know, it's just a little bit better. And I think the I don't know, the way that chat is integrated is a little bit. I think Twitch treats the chatters better than YouTube does. Oh, yeah. Though YouTube is trying, it's
well, they're trying because they have to compete, because in capitalism, competition exists solely for the idea of creating monopoly. But
Did you see my tweet the other day? It was a big brain leftist tweet.
Oh?
About how I think that this for lack of a better term, but the monopoly that capitalism claims to have on innovation is incorrect, because I feel like you get less innovation and less risk-taking when your livelihood is so closely tied to capital gain, whereas in a system where you could be fine and not have capital gain would be ideal for innovation and exploration. And it wouldn't be competition-based, but I don't think people are making things necessarily because of competition, and rather you're making it because it's interesting. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's... So I agree with that intuitively. There's another side to that as well, and that is that what we see as innovation in the capitalist space isn't... Yeah. A lot of times, a lot of this comes down to the idea of supply-side economics, where you're not doing something because there's a demand, and now you're meeting this demand with a new innovative technology. You're creating a thing, and then through the use of marketing, convincing an audience that they need it.
Right.
Which is a lot of what happens here.
Sometimes capitalist innovation, air quotes, is really just like, oh, we were able to cut costs here. It's just more capitalism things working together. Whereas when I think of innovation, I think of something that makes, a change in the user experience that is significant. So, like when I think of innovation, I think of those water bottles that sanitize water out of rivers and stuff. Like, that's the kind of stuff that I think, where there's not really monetary gain involved, but like you're already a scientist. Like you don't have to look for monetary gain. You can look for changing these. And I know a lot of people that work in sciences, computers, medicine, that like their number one gripe, even if they're right wing, is always like I had to like deal with an insurance company today. Oh, I had to deal with bureaucrats and corporate telling me I can't do a thing when this would be a really good idea, but it's not going to make any money. It's not profitable. Like stuff like that. I don't know. I feel like real innovation happens when you untie personal well-being and your familial well-being from actual innovation.
So there were two things said in my chat that I want to bring up real quick. First of all, since I don't have emotes, I do have a meme on my channel though, and that is H. So if I can get an H in chat for non-binary day, that'd be cool for my stream.
What's the H? I don't know if you can explain it. I couldn't explain corn to you in a reasonable time. So
the easiest way to explain it is there was about a year and a half ago, I had this I think it was going over biblical gender roles. And I said, if you think this guy is completely off his rocker, give me an H. If you agree with this guy, give me a G. Because I was like looking at my keyboard, like what can I put in besides just a 1 and a 0? And I just like my finger went to H. I'm like, okay, cool. H for yes and G for no. That's what we're gonna go with, and we just kept it. So now after that, the idea that once there were enough H's and the screen was nothing but H's. Yeah. This is very H. And somebody in your chat actually just said this is very H. That's
very H.
That is the meme. Yeah. So the other that ended up becoming like there's a lot of fan art now of like my character staring up at like a monolithic H, just going like a lot of stuff ended up coming in as a result of that. So I at least can quickly explain it.
Corn is just, I can't explain the roots of it, but I can just tell you what it symbolizes. Corn is positivity and goodness. Wheat is bad. That's it.
Cool.
Okay.
It's the
so if you get called wheat, it's like being called a chud. If you get called yuck wheat. If you get called a kernel or something corn related, you're a good bean, which is not a corn at all.
Which actually relates to the other thing that was said in my chat, and that was, can we make Cyrus x Jake canon and call it cornbread?
Fuck it, I don't care.
10 out of 10, we'll do it. There's already weird. My fan art section is filled with weird yaoi ships of me with all kinds of other people already. Anyway,
your character would work well with my Cornlord character, so just aesthetically, I think it would. You got that cool hammer going on and shit.
I am scared. A fan art was just submitted in my Discord, actually, of just a dad Cyrus now going, "I'm proud of you, kiddo." Harkening back to the dad conversation earlier.
I sent you my Corn Emperor if you want to show that. Corn Emperor, where I have a corn sword and you have the hammer. There we go. We have
Give me a second.
It's basically we're half a D&D party.
We've got a warrior. We've got my character's technically based off of a shaman, but that's not really a. Okay. You have to kind of go outside of D&D stuff to get that character.
Shaman is Pathfinder, isn't it?
You would be able to get it in Pathfinder.
3-5 shamans.
But I'm trying to
like a warrior or a paladin, maybe.
Paladin's what I generally play in D&D because it lets me use the hammer. So I guess we'll just call it a paladin. Luckily, 5th edition does not mean that every paladin has to be lawful stupid. So I can at least do that.
5th edition is I like it a lot. I'm a big fan of the system.
It's very easy to get people into D&D with 5th edition. Also on my chat, I just put the Corn Lord up for everybody to see. If for some reason you know me but you don't know Jake, which would be really weird.
Well, I just like the synergy of our characters that we're going on. Apparently, we're very violent.
Apparently so. I'm actually commissioning the one of the main artists for my channel. We've got a few that I know in real life and a few that I met in real life after knowing for a while. But I'm commissioning a new animation for the opening of my channel, and the animation that I'm using currently upsets me only in one sense, and that is that my character does not use the hammer for anything. When my first animation which was literally me commissioning a friend for 6 still images, and then I like bled them together into an animation. It looked really bad. But that one, like, the big thing was the hammer smashing down and then revealing the logo afterwards. So, like, I want to go back to having my hammer be more prominent on my channel.
You could also shoot thunder out of it or something, or lightning.
Potentially. Potentially. I was also sent this a while back, where it's actually, oh, you can't see it on your, we're not actually over video.
Put it in the Discord chat if you have just copy and paste it.
Well, that'd be kind of hard for me to do because I'm holding it like in real life.
Oh, well, shit.
I have a way around this, actually. I will show, and then I will hit print screen.
Ah, there we go.
Then I will grab the screen, copy it with Lightshot, which is a wonderful program, and then send it to you that way. There we are.
Yeah, oh, that's super cool. Here, I'll show you.
Aha! I sent it. That was sent to me about a year and a half, maybe more than that ago, and I have kept it ever since. And it got deemed real Cyrus in the lore of my channel now. When I'm speaking, I'm fake Cyrus, but if I duck under the table and start puppeteering that plush, that's real Cyrus. That's the real one. I'm the fake one, apparently.
That's cool.
Deep channel lore.
Oh, isn't it weird how that happens? You slowly gain lore, and it's more than inside jokes. Lore is the correct term. This is not just inside jokes. This is like there's lore of me having a fake family and a wife and kids because some guy got really upset at me and genuinely thought that I was lying to him about having
so that just got integrated into your channel lore of like you just lying about a family.
Yep, and so now they're somewhere, and I don't acknowledge them, and I'm a bad dad.
There was I think it's not some of the earliest channel lore, but as far as like integrating with other channels, one of the deepest lore bits was when I did a collaboration with Logic a while back, where we used his set for everything. So my character was in hell talking with him, and I animated him on his screen. He sent me his stuff, and then I built all of my stuff into it. So this whole like apologetics line ended up running about how did Cyrus actually escape hell? If Logic can't get out of hell, how did Cyrus manage it? Could Cyrus deliver pizzas to Logic in hell?
Interesting. That is some lore. So
it's a thing that I didn't consider would happen when I started YouTube, but then just like the longer you do YouTube, the more a lot of times it's just your fans constructing it, and you just go, we're rolling with it.
Bullying righties, Democrats are historically conservative and oppose Republicans freeing slave every step of the way, every way. Just because the Democrat voices are super far left now doesn't mean the party switched. Hillary Biden are super racist. Grow up, child. No, I totally agree. Fuck righties. That's what it says. It doesn't say fuck Republicans. I agree. Hillary and
Biden are garbage.
Biden are garbo. Yeah, I think maybe you're probably just like a snowflake. I think you're probably just a you need someone to be a little nicer to you. I think
like nice and tasty. If you want to, if you want to try to get us to agree that the Democratic Party is not left, here's the spoiler alert:
they're not left.
We already agree with that.
There you go. And they should go further left.
You did it.
Now you don't like it. Now he's mad again, but for a different reason. But that's okay. Yeah. No, they're racist, and so we should go further right and be more racist to be Republican? What? Question mark? So, yeah, I don't know. Doesn't really make sense. If you're against racism, you just genuinely... I'm not mad. Politics suck. I think you suck at politics.
Actually, slavery is the least racist option, apparently.
Oh, no. I actually heard that before.
That's the whole reason I'm saying it is that I've heard it.
For those who haven't, the argument is much like, your title's baiting? No, I really do want to bully you if you're right-leaning. You should be pushed right into the proverbial locker. But the argument for slavery being ethical is not only, you can argue from biblical, and they did, but is basically akin to dogs. Like, oh, what's that dog going to do? He's just going to go out in nature and die. I have to take care of him now. We've already gotten this far. So, yeah, it's pretty gross.
Usually, also, there's the if you take, I'm sure you're familiar with G-Man. I would hope you're familiar with G-Man.
the last time I debated him, he got so mad at me. He made like 5 videos. I didn't watch any of them, but
It's usually what happened. I apparently found out that Flamenco, who used to be on the kill stream, made a video about me, and I'm just like,
Flamenco's obsessed with me.
all of the people I know, Flamenco has an obsession with, and now it's bled onto me apparently, and I'm just like,
He's so obsessed, so upset, and he's just so bad faith and such a fucking like he has no integrity whatsoever. And you can tell he doesn't have like any. And I'm not being mean, like some people, like, you know, it just happens. He doesn't have any self-confidence, but he pretends to, and so it's like this put on sort of thing. He got so, because we had if you want to call it a debate, it was a discussion. His chat turned on him because he wasn't racist enough in our discussion. They were like literally like, "Why didn't you say the N-word?" Like, what?
why didn't you say it? Say it, dude. Why didn't you say it?
Yeah, and he says "fam" a lot, which is awful. Like, I don't know, fam. What's up, fam? He says it constantly.
It's like he's trying desperately, and that's like the white guy walking into the room and just going, "What is up, my N-words?"
Yes.
That's what that sounds like. That's what that feels like.
Yeah, it feels very put on. It also feels like a verbal tick, like when he gets uncomfortable, he uses it a lot.
I'm seeing in your chat just the fam.
Yeah.
Over and
Oh
over
man.
again.
It was almost an emote, but I didn't want to like coerce him into coming on to my show anymore. So, like, he's just so bad.
Hamable just said that Lamenko has latched onto you. That's bad, as he has a history of trying to dox people. So, given that there are cameras all around my house, because I dealt with the NIFB for so long, and this house does have actually a surplus of weaponry because we live in the woods. It is ill-informed to live in the woods where there are coyotes that walk up onto your front porch and not have some way of protecting yourself. Not smart. So, cool, he can try. Bad idea. Not really a great idea on his part.
The NIFB, New Independent Fundamentalist Baptist, right? The church?
Yes.
Yeah.
Think Steven Anderson, Matt Powell, Ken Ham is old IFB, but he does like flirt with the NIFB through Steven Anderson quite frequently. They did the Make America Straight Again concert in Orlando on the day of the Orlando shooting.
The guy that they have that really famous pastor, right? The one that's like, we should kill the gays. He went viral. That's the same people, right? I believe.
Say that one more time.
They have that pastor or whatever that went viral for saying that we should like literally stone gays. Like like last year, I think it's the same guy. I could be wrong.
There's a few of them, like all of them say that in the NIFB.
I know, but there was one specifically that he like did like a news tour, and I think it was. I think it's that. I think it's the same guy. Anyway,
it would have been Anderson then. It would have had to be Anderson.
Probably. Yeah, that is him. One of Flamenco's fans threatened to find me and fight me like a bully at the high school. Like, I'm gonna meet you at the flagpole. I don't know why.
Okay.
He's just mad at me, I guess. And I was like, do you have a disagreement? He's like, nah. But when we meet, it'll be the first and last time. Like, okay, weirdo.
That's like it's like a freaking rotary cutter for a pizza. All edge, no point. For people like that, I think it would be better to just go, okay, so how about we take this to the Rift? You and me one-on-one League of Legends. Let's go. Pick your main.
Right.
Pick your main. Let's go.
Fucking 2 Yasuo mains in mid.
All right wingers play either Yasuo or Teemo.
100% true.
I cannot think of a reality. Well, actually, no. There are some of them that play Garen because you have to be brain dead to play Garen correctly. So I can at least think of a few other champions there, but by and large, there is no champion that shows little dick energy. Singed is specifically if you're the quartering, because you fight by running away.
God damn it! Every Singed player is just Jeremy. I like that.
I'm going to
AOC,
fight you, I swear. Woo!
AOC is a support main. She's a silver 3.
I actually just saw that tweet that she plays. I'm upset because like I'm just sitting there I actually want to play League with you now.
I need to make that happen. I don't have literally any pull at all, but we'll figure it out. Maybe it'll happen.
I've been trying to get Vosh to play League again in the last it's been every single time he's just like, no, Cyrus, fuck you. I'm never going back to that. That is a dead part of my life, and I'm just like,
were you in that Minecraft server?
The one with Xanderhall?
Yeah.
Yes.
No one played in it.
I was there for the first 3 or 4 days when it was the Christmas themed one.
Yeah.
And then after that, I kind of stopped because like my thing is that I'm more of a Terraria guy than Minecraft, truly and honestly.
That was my first time ever playing Minecraft.
It was not my first time, but I tried really hard to enjoy it and like it, and I found that I just kind of don't like. It could. Raz has been wanting me to play as well, and I might be able potentially to try again, but as it stands right now, I'm just not a big fan of Minecraft.
Yeah,
really?
It's I don't know. I definitely like aspects of it, and then it also wears them. I don't have a lot of gaming attention if it's like free and open like that anyway.
That's kind of why I like Terraria more. Is that there's like when I hop into Terraria, I'm doing all the same building stuff just in 2D, and I feel like I've got a bit more of a structure of like what I should be doing.
I bet Bernie Sanders is your hero. I don't really have a hero, to be totally honest, my friend. I don't. That guy is still mad that we think that Democrats are right leaning. He's still in here, and he's like trying to troll.
It's failing very hard. It's when you understand politics. When you understand politics to at least like an entry-level degree, and you also don't engage in hero worship, it's really hard for somebody to like pin you down.
Like I think Trump supporters feel like that's how people act, and when they're normal. Like, oh yeah, of course we suck on Donald Trump's grundle, so they do that to Bernie Sanders. It's like, no, like I didn't appreciate how he didn't really engage in the BLM discourse.
For me, I view Bernie I did view Bernie as a means to an end. Like this is
a stepping stone.
Like functionally, this politician. He says he's a democratic socialist, but by all measurements, he's social democrat. Very much is still in favor of many of the things that capitalism does. Just wants there to be social safety nets. That is at least a step away from the current Overton window. Right now, I'm kind of sitting in that like Biden's really the only choice for harm reduction right now. So that's where I'm sitting, but I don't like Biden. I don't want Biden. And every single time that one of my friends on Facebook posts, actually, there's a third party you can vote for. Have you heard of Joe from the Libertarian Party? I'm just like, no, we're not doing that. We don't go there. We don't do that here.
If Donald Trump was a benign Republican, like a Mitt Romney, I could be like, okay, I'll abstain from Joe Biden. It's not like it's a pretty lateral move, I think. Maybe a little more capitalism than I like, not a lot of health care. But the rhetoric that happens because of Donald Trump's existence and just the way that this works, I can't justify not voting against him. Like
the problem with the way Trump functions as a political ideologue, he doesn't have to do anything. He doesn't have to do anything substantial. He emboldens the most toxic elements of our culture, and that's been shown time and again over the last 4 years. I don't like that political environment. I want that environment to go away. So I have a few left-leaning friends who were like Bernie or busters, and they have this argument that, well, actually, you should punish the DNC by letting Trump get elected again. And I'm just like, that doesn't. The DNC doesn't care. That's an organization, not. All you're doing is making individuals hurt more because you wanted to win more.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't like that. I like the idea of having the space to feel morally correct, but I'm so pragmatic about this kind of shit that it's like I mean, I'm a traditional lefty voter, right? I'm going to vote mostly blue, green, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Not voting is taking away a vote from the left. It's not giving a vote to the right, but it's taking a vote away from the left. It's again, it's the trolley problem. Inaction in this scenario is a negative.
Yeah, it's not you're not morally pure because you abstain from voting. Yeah, well, Biden's not a good person. He's not a good vote.
No.
But we only have one hand of cards right now. And if you don't play anything in the hand of cards, like
you fold and the other guy gets the pot.
Yeah.
That's how cards work, Chad.
It doesn't work for you. Well, I wasn't going to go that route because that's not my kind of cards. I'm more Yu-Gi-Oh and stuff.
Sure.
Magic the Gathering, Weiss Schwartz,
But still, it would be effectively folding in poker.
Yeah, it's the same thing. You don't just look at your hand and go, well, I'm just not going to do anything because I don't have the optimal play. Okay, well, what if your opponent doesn't have the optimal play? Like, you're just going to let him summon garbage and then kill you because you just decided not to play the game.
Yeah, voting is also not an endorsement of that person. I agree. Voting is... Honestly, I would like to vote for Joe Biden, then put his feet to the fire hard. And honestly, like, if he gets voted in, that means Donald Trump loses. If you want to go into his sexual assault allegations and see and do that impeachment shit, go for it. I'm 100% fine with that. Like, I don't care. 100% fine with that, because I mean, like, if he did it, then that's a bad person I don't want in charge. But the only thing is, I just need the Republicans cannot be in charge of the executive office, and it needs to be a lame duck president. It needs to be a one-term failed presidency. This pandemic is going to exist shortly after the election takes place. Do you want that to still be the case? Like, come on. Like, minimum, Joe Biden just today said like a $2 trillion response to that. Like, that's something he's pledged to. Like, that's a good thing. It's a step. It's not great, and I don't like him, and he doesn't want to have like single payer healthcare because he's dumb. But like, it's still like better. I don't know.
It was mentioned by Terrified of Humans in my chat. Voting in Australia is mandatory. Why isn't it mandatory in the United States? Largely,
because our freedom.
Largely, it all this boils down to that libertarian idea of like you should let people abstain if they want to. And like, I can understand the idea that, well, why would you want to force people who are ill-informed to have a vote? Well, here's the thing: ill-informed people vote whether or not they are forced to. Like,
and that's some philosopher King's Plato shit right there that is also bad. Like, if you like to not let misinformed people vote, and I don't know, like, it's just, I think the best way to combat that would be to make sure that education is better across the board. But whatever. That's
because with Plato, his idea was that the ideal society would be one where it was ran by a hegemony of philosophers, and they would have a monopoly on how that society would be ran.
That they were born that way. It was like pretty racist. Not racist, I guess, because it wasn't about race, but it would end up being whatever fundamentally that idea of someone else being lesser is, but not racism.
You have
lessism, I guess.
But see, the thing is that you have people who are philosophically literate who end up just using that to engage in sophistry.
Yep.
So the idea that the philosopher is de facto the better person to rule society, even if that's a correct statement, which is really weird because to be a philosopher, generally you have to have at least some education in it so that you can even begin that journey. Which means suddenly now we're back to classism again, because whether people can afford that education in the first place. But locking ability to run for office behind whether or not you're a philosopher is the same issue we have in the United States, where whether or not you can run for office and win is locked largely behind cash.
Yeah. Hey, Lance, I didn't see you in chat. Hi, buddy. You streaming? Lance from the Surfs is here.
Nice. How's it going?
You guys have talked before, right? Have you never talked?
In passing once, maybe, I think.
I mean, do you guys want to talk? Does Lance want to talk? Do you want to do a thing here?
I mean, if you guys want to, I'm down for it. I also have to prove somebody in my chat wrong. They said that I only play Waifu Wars, and that is incorrect. Because I also just started the Dragon Ball Super card game. This is a Frieza deck.
Here, I'll invite. I'll invite Lance, if you don't have to. You do not have to. Next time? Oh, okay. Well,
Okay,
that's fine.
cool. Then we just work. We just work here. It'll be fine.
Stop ringing, yeah. Stop ringing. There we are. But yeah, we'll be next time. That's okay.
Now he'll
Big
just get
Booty, thank you
spammed
for gifting surfs.
Now he'll just get spammed by whatever out of context
Jellyfish.
images we throw at each other.
It's jellyfish. Because Lance is a spineless. He's so spineless.
He's spineless and you can
horses,
see right through him, so he's a jellyfish.
Hell yeah. No, but he has no bones. True. Yeah. That guy was like, what do you think, the GOP or the DNC is more racist? I think the GOP is more racist. I don't see. There's this idea that like you learn a fact about like you go like, well, the Democrats were against freeing the slaves, and Lincoln was a Republican, and then totally ignoring the part where there's a party switch, you know, and they basically just swap names and ideologies. Like
not even
you can't like pick and choose your history, bro. Like
it's not even that they swapped ideologies either. It's that the Republicans shifted far to the right and the Democrats shifted kind of to the left, not even fully.
Right.
And it's, if you look at some of Lincoln's writings, he was still a white supremacist.
He was a white fella. Yep.
Like
he talked to Douglas though once, and so that means not a racist.
It's like you fucked a black dude. You can't be racist.
Well, Thomas Jefferson did, in fact, have sexual relations with Sally Heming.
Yes,
so
he
couldn't have been racist.
She was also underage, and it happened while she was a slave, so she couldn't consent. So yeah,
yikes.
Jefferson was a bit of maybe a little bit of possibly a rapist. It's okay though, because he freed 2 slaves in his lifetime. 2, right. Count them. 2. Now at his peak, he owned 150, but that's besides the point. He freed 2 of them, not the one he was.
Yeah. See, this is the thing. Like I don't understand going like you keep saying shit like Hillary and Biden are racist. Totally agree, but guess what? Name a Republican that isn't a fucking racist. I can't name one. I cannot think of one that has advocated for anything that has helped a minority group. Any of them. So I'm just saying, like, there are people in the Democratic Party that advocate openly for things that help minority groups all the time. And so, yeah, I agree. Lots of libs are bad. I don't like this. It's so weird the sort of dogmatic talking point. You heard it once on Reddit, and you and your friends play Fortnite and say the same shit over and over, and you share anti-SJW memes and you watch the quartering. Like, bro, like you have like little to no understanding of the topics that you're trying to bring up here, and then you're like, yeah, you're mad. You don't even know what I believe. No, I'm pretty confident I know what you believe. You're just dumb and you're uninformed, and that's okay. Stick around, you'll learn stuff. But you keep talking, it's not really learning. You're just kind of saying words so that we pay attention. And pretty soon you're going to say something that I'm assuming one of my mods is going to think is not cool, and you're going to get caught up in the machine, man. Instead, you could just chill, have a positive interaction with these really dope ass people in chat. You could sub, and you can get some really cool emotes, and you can enjoy your time here. You could learn that, like, hey, it's not this big contentious like dick measuring contest. You'd lose. I have lots of girth, and then like you could just chill. You have no opinion? I have lots of fucking opinions, my guy.
You have no valid points because you said he plays Fortnite. Like, I'm sorry. Have you? Isn't it the right side that always says everything's a joke and that makes it okay?
Oh, I'm.
Joke,
you said I play Fortnite, so you're invalid. Okay, man, whatever. I don't care. Like, I mean, dude.
You said I play Fortnite. I am actually a top tier player on PUBG, good sir.
Dude, play PUBG then. I don't care. Whatever you play. I was just saying, like, you play a video game with your friends and share anti-SJW videos. That was the joke. I mean, if you can't take a joke, then, I mean, maybe you should go hang out in, like, righty spaces where you belong. But if not, if you do want to hang out here, and you're absolutely allowed to, we have lots of people that were like you that have been converted, not necessarily by me, but people like me, like Cyrus, like all these people here, just have positive interactions. Don't come in here with this negativity. It's kind of bullshit. And you look dumb. And, I don't know, I think you could stand to, like, learn some new perspectives from people, and like be open. Don't be, don't shut yourself off to new experiences, my guy.
What we're saying is, come to the table, and we will hand you some bread, and it's up to you if you want to eat it. It's fine.
It's delicious bread.
It is tasty.
There's no bread that's bad. I've never had bad bread, unless it's spoiled, but like, it's fresh bread. I know how to make fresh bread. I'm just saying.
I'm trying to think if there is a bread that I've had that I just didn't like.
Unless it's like gluten-free bread, but even some of that's pretty good, honestly.
I'm
like,
pretty sure that my fat ass just went, carbs! Most of the time, and I'm just like, yeah.
I have had carbless bread, and that's a little cardboardy.
Oh, that's, I've had that. It's Ezekiel bread, and it's...
Ooh, the Ezekiel bread is not good.
No, it's not, actually.
There you go. There we found it.
Yep.
But maybe it's because we're atheist losers. Fedoras. And we're like, God's not real, and we can't taste the nuance.
I tip the fedora and just ignore the fact that the co-host on my podcast is a theist, and ignore the fact that when I'm doing videos like where I can't exegete the Bible properly, I go to my Christian friends who are apologists, and I'm just like, "Hey, did I get this right?"
Yeah.
Like,
ignore the fact that my entire career on the internet has been around studying the Bible and reading it word for word. Ignore these things.
None of these things matter.
None of them matter. It's fun. I like that. You ever get accused of being in an echo chamber? It's funny.
I've had it happen a handful of times.
Yeah.
And what's funny is, like, when it happens, I get people who will vehemently say that, like, you're misrepresenting this. You think that all X persons are extremists. And then when I hear that, I'll usually screenshot it, and I will send it to my friends who I have vehement disagreements with, and just go, could you fact check this statement?
Yeah.
Could you tell me if I did this one right? For all I know, maybe I did just suddenly just hop into the echo chamber extremist bucket, and now here we are. But, sometimes it's weird.
Combat tech support. You can't be in an echo chamber. We're constantly berating you for not being far enough to the left. True. That is fair.
So yesterday I did a live stream with a few of my friends, all of which were I think most of them are actually considered farther to the left than I am. And the joke on my podcast on Thursdays is that my co-host has to tell me to put down the bread, because usually, like, we'll talk about a topic, we'll get into like racism real quick, and then I'll get into like intersectionality and how this is layered with class warfare, and like after about 2 minutes, it's just like, okay, sirs, put down the bread. You're on a tangent. Just stop.
There you go.
The first thing that was said when I hopped into the stream yesterday was, "Hey, Cyrus, guess what? Nobody's going to tell you to put down the bread here." Nobody.
Wow.
It's like, oh, it's great. I can do it.
It's nice. Well, my thing is just a pragmatic thing. I've talked about this before, but while I think that like an ideal society probably looks a lot like anarcho-socialism or communism, whatever, down the line, I don't think it's achievable in my lifetime, so I shouldn't be advocating for things that are step 3 or 4 when step 1 isn't done yet. So let's do step 1.
Yeah.
And so I advocate for that. And so I call myself a far right leftist because I agree. I don't think we can do it while I'm alive. We need systemic change, because I don't think revolution works. I think we need to at least not military revolution. I think political revolution works. I think we need to take steps and work within the system and convince people, because you're trying to tell a bunch of capitalists that have been taught that the American dream is a thing and they're just temporarily embarrassed millionaires. You're telling these people, no, you're never going to be the thing. And you're literally stripping dogmatic belief away from them. It's very similar to Christianity. It's hard to just tell somebody they're wrong. They kind of got to get there. And so we got to help them along. It's like, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the show Bob's Burgers. I am.
Renegade Cut did a really good video dissecting that show today. And there's an episode in there where the rent gets hiked for everybody, and the entire city goes into a revolt. They go into a class warfare revolt against the one guy who controls all the rent in their city. They get there, and then the dude has a bucket of water balloons, because he's anticipated this shit.
Yeah.
They get there, and he goes, okay, look, listen, I hear you. I see that some of you are not happy with the situation that I've put you guys in. So here's what we're going to do. You all are going to engage in a water balloon fight. And the few of you who win, I will suspend your rent for 6 months. But everybody else gets the rent hike. And everybody just... the class warfare stops.
Class warfare.
They just start fighting against each other.
Yeah.
And it's just like, this is... That's what happens, is everybody... Yeah. It's like, even if I become a... like 200,000 sub YouTube channel and I'm getting advertisements out the wazoo and sponsorships, and I'm just sitting there like, I don't have to worry about money for the rest of my life. I'm still going to sit there and go, but it's not fair that there are people who aren't in my position. So I'm still going to fight. Like, that's it.
I do a podcast on Sundays with an ex-NFL player. He's literally a millionaire. And he talks about this too. He's like, at a certain point, I realized that having money is shitty. It's not a good thing. Like, there's some things that I've done that I could only have the amount of money I have if I had the immense privilege of having the first $1 million. And like, he's like, and don't get me wrong, like, I worked for that shit, but it's not like everybody has this sort of mobility. And then it just snowballs. And if I wanted to drop ethics, I could make $100 million. I could make $200 million. It just depends on how far I'm willing to go, because high tier capitalists find you to be part of the in group, and they like gate this shit up. And it was so interesting listening to him talk about like investment and like things, doors that open specifically just because he has money, so he can make more money. So it cascades up near the top. Mm-hmm. It's wild. It's absolutely wild. And he's like, no, I should be very much more taxed. And so he's thinking about starting a neighborhood store in Houston where he lives that doesn't operate on profit. It just breaks even.
There's a post that I see going around a lot that exemplifies this, where it talks about like, if your friend circle is always talking about the good old days, having fun, getting drunk, etc., it like lists all these like recreational things, then you've got the wrong friend circle. You need to find a friend circle that is talking about stocks, options, opening up a business. And I'm just sitting there like, so wait, you mean you should find... I know this idea. This I know where this idea comes from, because I actually have the book on it. It is talked about in both the 4-Hour Workweek and in Rich Dad Poor Dad. And in both of those books, the idea is put across that there's two types of friends that you have in life. There's your default friends. These are the friends that you make out of proximity. People you work with, people you talk with online, etc. And then there's the friends you make out of opportunity. Because they're the ones that can further you in life, and those are the ones that you should be going for more often than not. And I'm sitting there like, wait, but if I do that exclusively, wouldn't that mean that my friend circle is contingent on my success? And if I fail, not a single one of them is going to give a fuck about helping me after that point. Like, there's
it sounds like a friend. It sounds like a colleague.
Correct. And it's like, when I read that, I wasn't a YouTuber yet, but after becoming a YouTuber and realizing like, how useful it is to have other YouTubers to talk to, whether it's like, hey, can
how
you
clicky that they can be.
Yeah, it's you start to realize that, okay, so there is a point where you have to go, these are my colleagues and these are my friends, and some of them can be both. Some of them can easily be both. Like right now, I would consider you both easily. There's a mutual benefit I'm gaining from us streaming, and also I'm enjoying the conversation. Whereas,
I think that's when we understand that we can, because I was going to stream anyway, and then like we could talk privately, but like it behooves us to work at the same time.
Yes,
and we both understand that, and then also, personally, for me being on the left, I think it's nice to cross-pollinate to make sure that our ideas get shared and evolve and strengthen, not only between the two of us, or whoever's involved, but just like all of the people watching. I think it's a good thing. It percolates, so to speak, the tea of the left.
It steeps it.
Yes.
It makes it better. Now I can agree. Also, somebody in your chat, Jake, awkwardly just thinking of Cyrus as a colleague. It's like the two people have a one night stand, and then one person's like, "So we're gonna hang out tomorrow, right?" And the other one's just like,
Yeah, no.
It's like, nah, I this wasn't. Maybe I wasn't fully honest about what this was for me.
Oh.
That's.
But it was maybe hanging out's a strong word for the next time we hang out. This was fun. This part was fine.
That's like whenever somebody asks you, like, "Hey, do you want to get me a drink real quick?" Want is a really strong word.
Yeah.
For like my compunction to do things.
Yeah.
Somebody said that one night stand story is how I got engaged once. So, to be fair, the me and Raz have been together for 4 years, and that started because I creepily said, "Hey, do you want to like see my cats at the house?" And then we just she just never left, and it's been years.
There you go.
That's fine.
That's how it works.
It happens sometimes.
Yeah. That's how I tricked my girlfriend Sarah. I just was like, "Hey, I'll buy you chicken nuggets," and she's like, "Hell yeah!" And then just hasn't left.
Chicken nuggets are great.
Just keep supplying the chicky nugs, and she just doesn't. It's sooner or later she's gonna be like, "Wait, better people exist?" But until then,
Blue Beanie Bros in my chat has gone from, "Please make fun of me for being a Christian. Please make fun of me for being an idiot. Make fun of me for being an idiot. I love being persecuted. Please, please, please." That's a really awkward LARPing of Steven Anderson you're doing right there. But you're doing a good job.
I do have people that like to come on and want that negative attention. That's weird.
Their method
definitely happens.
It's like I'm not going to kink shame, but there are people who really do get paid for humiliating you, and I guess technically Jake is getting paid for humiliating you. So yeah, fair.
It does work. There is a particular person, maybe tomorrow's stream, that I think I'll pick on for money. Yeah, I think so. He's a transphobe, so I don't really feel bad about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Dunk on him. Shove his testes up his nose and ask, "What do you think you are now?"
I don't know. I just think when you have and again, not to body shame, but I think if you're body shaming and you have full blown acne, you need to fucking get a hold of yourself. You need to get a hold of yourself and figure out what's wrong with you.
That's the "don't throw stones from glass houses."
Yeah, I'm not gonna make fat jokes. Let's just be real. I have a cup size. It's not really pushed in, but I have a cup size. I
will make all the fat jokes. They're just aimed at me.
Right, that's what I mean. I'm not gonna be like, "Oh, look at that fatty. Take care of yourself, fatty." When I'm like, you know what, running hurts.
That's kind of where I am. So for context, and I haven't done it as often as I should, to be fair, but we have a dog, and this area is nothing but hills because we're in Georgia. If it's not a hill, it's a mountain. But there's no such thing as a flat fucking street. So when we take Growlithe out for a walk, we have to go over several hills, and that sucks. And when we walk her, it's usually for 4 miles because she has lots of energy.
Yeah.
And Jesus, especially in the summertime, that is just an unpleasant experience. And at least Growlithe's a good motivator when I'm just like, "Holy crap, you literally will not shut up. I'm going to take you on the longest walk possible. You're going to pass out, and life is going to be great."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we do that with my dog, too. He's he's a shepherd and a collie, so he's all over the place, and then we take him out, and he gets tired, and he sleeps all day. Hell yeah.
Yours is a shepherd collie, too?
Yeah, he's an Australian shepherd and a collie. His name's Darwin. He's very cute.
That's exactly what my...
He's an emo. He's an emote in the chat, and he's adorable and lovable. And I was a Chad in high school. You're correct, chat. And that was I peaked at 18, and that was that's just how life works sometimes. Yeah,
that was my face.
Now I mean, chat loves when I do puppy pictures. So I mean,
Oh, girl.
I can actually bring him in here. I could just bring him in here. He lives here. Why a picture when he exists? Darwin, come here, bud. I did not name him after the scientist, for the record. I just liked him. Hi. Oh goodness, that was a lot of boy. Hi. Hello.
Oh, yours has the border collie colors.
Yeah.
But shaped literally identically. Mine has the shepherd colors. Growlithe, hop back up here. Come on. Girl. How you doing?
Ow, you scratched my nip. You gotta cut your toenails soon.
She put her claws in my nose. I understand.
The goodest. Yeah. Palette swap doggos.
That's basically.
Yeah. It's just another skin.
We send an actual picture instead of just a screenshot that I took while she was assaulting me. Because that's...
that was definitely...
It's definitely all that was. Growlithe, come here. Do not scream. There is no reason to scream.
Here, I'll show you guys the action shot. Here's the action shot. Right there. Maybe we could do this a little better. There you go. Hi, buddy!
I don't have as many good pictures in my phone of Growlithe as I thought I did. I have more of Gigi.
Every dog is just great. There's nothing you couldn't show me a dog and I would go like, ew, gross. No, every dog is perfect and wonderful in every way all the time.
There's Growlithe in our gaming room, which is still being worked on. It needs its Raspberry Pis, but...
Oh, see, this is a great picture. Yeah, a little thicker than my guy. He doesn't want to gain any weight for some reason, but yeah, I could see it. They have such expressive brows.
I know.
Great dogs, though. Very smart, almost too smart, and dumb at the same time.
Well,
like does Growlithe pick up words that he shouldn't pick up, and then over time you have to change the words so he doesn't like react?
Yeah. We have to spell out certain words.
Yeah.
The other
Park
thing
is a great word.
And she has now stolen my shoe. Okay. That's cool. She went under my desk, stole the shoe out because I was wearing a set of like Crocs, so I was slipping my feet in and out of them as it was comfortable. She just stole it. It's over there now.
Of course.
It's hers. It's the reason I have multiple pairs. But no, that's neat. We have the same dog. They just have the different palette swaps.
Yeah.
No, we've got the second picture. Outside, we actually have a set of like restaurant booths that got commandeered from an old storage unit from a restaurant that went out of business.
Oh, neat!
We got those for free, and along with the table, and actually just installed them in our front porch so that we have like a breakfast space there that feels like you're outside in a restaurant. However, because it is so easy for her to do so, she just climbs on the table and sleeps there. Anytime she's outside, 9 times out of 10, we'll go out there, and she's just like resting on the table, and I'm like, it is summertime. I'm sure the table's much more cool than the ground. That's fair. I can understand that.
That feeling when you both have the same starter Pokemon. Nice.
Which one's the shiny though? Is the question.
I don't know. Maybe they're yet to shine, because mine still eats poop sometimes.
We have 5 cats.
I only have 1 right now. I'm definitely destined for another one. There's no way Sarah lets me only have 1 cat for this entire run.
Our with all the cats, Growlithe is good friends with some. She's ambivalent with others, or rather, the others are ambivalent with her. But there's one thing that she can agree with all of our cats, and that's that all of them have really tasty poop.
Yeah. Luckily, he's scared of parts of the kitchen floor. I think it's because the pads of his feet get hair on him and he slips around. So where the poop is right now is fine. It used to be a problem, but he is obsessed with our cat. Her name is Ellie. She's just a black cat. She's sort of a blob. Is she in here? Yes, she is in here. Can't see her. He's obsessed with her though. He'll just follow her around all day long, and just adore her. And it's kind of like I imagine like sort of like a Cleopatra, and then like the palm frond guy that would just follow her around and keep her cool. He's that all day, every single day.
That makes
Amazing.
sense. That's like, you know what? That analogy gets even worse when you consider that palm fronds were usually eunuchs.
There you go. Yeah,
You have
he
to,
is a eunuch.
You fix your dog, so.
Yeah, I don't want him to reproduce. Absolutely not.
We still got to get Growlithe fixed. She's only 9 months old.
Okay.
So we've got to get her fixed very soon. But you know, she's a little one. We got her as a puppy. We wanted to adopt one from a shelter. The problem is that because we have 5 cats, the likelihood I do not want to take a dog out of an environment, pull it into this environment, find out it cannot be suitable in this environment because the other animals are there, and then pull it back. So the only other option was to find a puppy. My first want is to adopt, but ended up doing that.
It was kind of a rescue. I got Darwin from hippies they lived on a farm, and they were giving him holistic medicines. And when I found out they were injecting vinegar dilute into the dogs for heartworm treatments, I decided to grab him immediately. So he came home with me that day. So it was pretty much a rescue, I think.
Yeah, I would call that a rescue. All of our cats, I want to say they're rescues, but if I'm being 100% honest, it's more like a couple of them just kind of chose this house and said, this is where we sleep now. We have 5. The first one was Gigi. Gigi came onto the back porch 6 or 7 years ago. She was a little kitten, just tiny baby, and it was the middle of November, and it was a snow season. So she comes up onto the porch. We hear her meow on the back porch. Open it up, let her in. We'll go, okay, you'll be in here for one night. And then at the time we lived in an apartment, so we're like, okay, we're gonna see if you're anybody's kitty who just got out. Turns out that she had been house hopping. Every house took her in for a day and then did the same fucking thing. So we said, okay, you're not going to another house. You are now our kitty. The next kitten, the owner of the card shop that we used to go to before he sold his store, had a stray come into their house, a stray kitten that still needed bottle milk, like had gotten abandoned by its mother.
Young.
And it was like, well, we can't take care of it because his wife was in college and he had to run the store full time. Like they couldn't feasibly do it. So we said, okay, we'll take it. That was our second rescue. Had to bottle feed him. He's actually sleeping right over there, out of camera shot. Then we had two from the same litter. We were living in a second-story apartment at the time. The mother of the 2 kittens gave birth to them on our second-story porch and then abandoned them in the bag that held our Christmas tree. So we fished them out of the tree, bottle-fed them, and they are now in the house. And the final one was Yumi, who named after the cat from League of Legends. We got her right as Yumi came out. Yumi was going door to door trying to find a house that would take her in. I saw that, called her in. She was incredibly sick, wouldn't eat, so we had to feed her with a syringe for a month. And we found out the reason she was sick was that she was pregnant and the babies had actually died in her womb, and they were literally rotting her out from the inside until she was able to expel them. So we had to take her to the vet, get that taken care of. She had to get a steroid shot and all kinds of stuff. It sucked. But after that, she has been an incredibly loving cat outside of the brain damage she has. She drools every now and again, so we know there's at least something wrong up there. But she's a good kitty. She chose us and said, okay, you guys can save my life, right? Yeah, we did. We could.
Someone akin to how Darwin follows Ellie around like a palm frond person. Is that like the quartering in Brie Larson?
Or is it like Paul Joseph Watson and Lauren Southern?
That's good shit. That is good shit. Thank you, chat. My cat does not drool. I used to have a cat that would do the suckle thing and then get drooly, but
we only have one cat that does the suckle thing, and it's any blanket that smells like Raz, she will paw the blanket and suckle it because she views Raz as mom, because of course her mom abandoned her. Raz was the one that bottle fed her, so that's who she sees. But I think that's the only one we've got that does
Cats
that.
have parent issues too. Ours are just happen to be our dads, I guess. Don't have any subtly.
Maybe the real cats were the friends we made along the way.
Oh, that's good. That's always.
No, I'm not having this conversation, Jack and Quill. I'm not doing this again. We're not going. We're not having the conversation about whether or not uncooked dry ramen is good. It's not. Your preferences are horrible. Stop this. We're not doing this again. Absolutely not.
I like to try to spread validity when I can, but I am unable. I am unable to call that valid.
We can even. It seems. It seems people in your chat are saying that the dry crunchy ramen is good. This is.
Oh yeah, Sarah likes it.
This is the true class warfare.
20 years from now, we'll be the bigots in this ramen war. You're all monsters? Everyone involved in this ramen thing is a monster? What?
Apparently so.
Huh.
Apparently so. But which?
This is why we can't have lefty unity. Dry ramen. Well, it's because that's all we can eat while we're fighting. We're fighting the proletariat or the bourgeoisie. Well, I guess both.
Like freaking, is it that dry ramen is more poor because you don't have to spend money on heating the pot, and therefore that is
like
one
you don't have
class.
an oven.
That is one class,
mm-hmm.
and the people who actually cook their ramen like human beings is another class. We are the middle class oppressors, like the police officers. This is. Is this class reductionism or is this class expansionism? Did we just expand the definition to where it means nothing anymore?
Is ramen spaghetti?
No, but it is technically bread.
Oh God. I unironically did know somebody that didn't like the ramen packets, but did like the ramen noodles and put ketchup on them. So that's spaghetti, right? I think that's spaghetti.
We're
not friends anymore, for the record. That was a straw. Yeah.
Now there is one thing I will say: you can use ramen as a bun very well. There's a good recipe where you take your ramen, you boil it, get it al dente, and then you put it in a bowl, mix it with egg, and then let it chill in the fridge until it gets until it emulsifies a bit, and then toss it on. You toss it and fry it just in a pan, both sides, and then you use it as a bun for burgers, and it is really good. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, like ramen burgers are 10 out of 10. Growlith, are you upset that I'm not paying attention to you? Is that it?
Yeah.
Is that apparently. It? Is that the problem? Come here.
Well, we've been going for almost 3 hours, actually, which is much longer than I thought we were going for. But I'll take. I'm here for the long haul, so it's up to you when you want to pull the parachute out.
I'd say I probably have about between 10 and 30 minutes more, something like that. Hi, Growth. Mainly because I did not actually spend most of my time home. I spent it desperately going around my city trying to get my car repaired, which has been.
I saw that.
So we've been putting off car repairs for a while because it was like, well, the car runs and it's not like I have to use a car to get to and from work. Yeah. So like, do you want out? Because I can let you out if that's what you want, Growlith. You can go that way. It's fine. Just fine. You okay? So we did a fundraising stream because it finally hit when the tire, front passenger tire exploded and shredded itself into pieces. That we decided, maybe it's time to not let more of this stuff catch up with us. So we're like, we'll do a live stream. And I'll say I thought at the time there was $1,000 worth of repair in the car between the AC, the tires, the blinkers, all the stuff that was making it not safe to drive in Atlanta and the South. Set that at $1,000. We actually earned that on stream. I was like, cool, you guys are awesome. My community is wonderful. I still want to thank you guys again for donating for that. But then we had to tow it and leave it in a shop the day before, so I came home to do the stream while it was in the shop. Called the shop, and they said, okay, so you got $2,300 worth of damages here that need to be accounted for. And I was like, that is not the number I budgeted for. And they're like, oh, by the way, we can't actually fix the blinkers because that's an electrical issue. That's going to be a few $100s more, and that's going to be at your local dealership. We can't actually handle that here. So I'm like, so we're looking at potentially $3,000 of
Jeez.
damage. That is significantly under the number that I shot out. And I know a few of my fans were like, so you want to do another fundraiser stream? I'm like, well, I don't, though. Like, I'm the one that I undershot the amount. That's my bad.
Yeah, I feel bad from time to time. And they're all and like, if I ever need anything, they're always like, well, let's do a thing. We'll do the money. And it's like, yeah, but like, you have stuff that you pay for. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
just because I do the internet doesn't mean that I don't know.
That's where I'm at as well. Like, there were a few people during the initial stream that were like, I feel bad because I can't donate. And I'm like, no, don't. Don't feel bad if you can't donate. That's no. If there's nothing that even says that you should have to in the first place. There's no incentive for donating in the first place. Don't feel like you have to. So like, if people want to donate above the fact, sure, cool. But I am very hesitant about sitting down and doing a fundraiser. I over and all don't want to. When it came to doing the fundraisers for like the protests and stuff, cool, I'll do those for 5 and 6 days in a row because that's me supporting an actual cause. When it comes to me, I don't want to dedicate more than a couple of hours to fundraising for me. It feels self-aggrandizing outside of that. Yeah.
Unless it's like, I don't know, the only way it would be is like my family's in like some sort of need of something, I guess. But
again, even at that point, you're not doing it for you.
Yeah.
You're doing
and
it
mine
for
are,
those
mine are
around.
fake anyway. I don't have a it's the canon.
There's somebody saying down payment for another car. So the problem, though, is that we do own this vehicle, like full stop. It would raise our expenses to down payment on a new car, have higher insurance for that car, and then have the car payment. We just after the channel got stolen, my revenue from YouTube got cut in half. So we just started breaking even thanks to Patreon and Twitch, and we have a little bit that comes in through affiliate. There's a sex shop that I affiliate with that we're like, yeah, totally, we'll sponsor your channel. That's the only one. Go figure. But after just breaking even there, and like, I can't really justify adding another expense. I can't. Like, I can justify repairing the car I've got, and then just like sitting on that for however long it's going to last me. But getting a new one, while maybe that's the safest option possible, that's not the financially responsible option. It's really not.
I should get a sex shop sponsor to do corn dildos.
I wonder if the one that sponsors me.
I have one. I have a corn dildo somewhere here that a fan sent. But yeah, that'd be. You'd buy? Thanks, bud.
Hold on, let me type in corn dildo. Nope.
I should just get a sex shop. I should just make one.
Just make a sex shop. 3D printed corn dildos and corn butt plugs.
Corn, a fundraiser for hush money for your secret family? Yep, we could do that. Is the corn dildo in the bedroom? No, I've never used it. It is. You know, it might be in the closet. It might be in the closet where we put all sorts of crazy stuff that we get from fans.
I was just asked how many miles are on the car. 162,000 miles, and the only reason I know that is we got the oil changed recently, so I got that lovely little sticker that told me. Yeah. I don't look normally.
Yeah, I wouldn't know that kind of stuff. Car people are funny. My brother's a car person, and I don't know. They just like they know all the things. They're like, what's your axle crank? It's like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, bro. But like, I'm really glad you know. Like, I know basic stuff, and like, and he tries to talk to me about things, or I hear him talk with his friends who are also car people because he's like a part-time mechanic. It's like they're so enthusiastic about like this specific type of machine. It just seems weird to me, I guess. But
so it's
you know,
not,
I have hobbies too.
it's not weird to me because I've got the same enthusiasm where like computers are concerned. Where wow, Growlithe is not having a good day. She's probably trying to talk to one of the cats and wondering why they don't bark back.
Yeah, it's like a PC person. Yeah, maybe.
So
I don't know, but I feel like a vroom vroom pee pee energy feel from it though. Whereas I don't know that PC people do. Maybe they do. I don't know.
I think so. I will be honest. There is a certain level of like of dick measuring energy that comes from PC builds.
Okay.
When somebody's, because I have a few friends where like when we compare builds, they'll be like, oh, you got the, what was the actual comparison that we had there? I have an Intel Core i7 right now, 87K processor. They'll go, wait, you went for Intel and not AMD? And I'm like, dude, I had AMD for my last processor. Shut the fuck up. It's fine. I just got a different board this time. Holy shit.
I had Intel last time, and then now it's AMD. I can't really tell a difference except this one didn't work right away.
The only real difference is that generally AMD has more threads, so you can do more on it at once without it fudging up. Although in general AMD runs hotter, and my problem was that my PC was overheating when I streamed, so going to an Intel processor that wouldn't get as hot made more sense than sticking with AMD, which I knew was literally one of my problems.
Yeah, I don't think mine's being used very much right now, actually. Let me see.
My biggest thing is I wanted to, during the multi-day live stream for BLM, I wanted to stream some Resident Evil 2, and my computer just said, ah! You thought! So I just said,
yeah,
okay.
my CPU is at 17% now. It's a huge upgrade from the last one.
I think just running the stream, let me see where mine's sitting at. Just running the stream, I'm sitting at 25%.
Yeah, so it's like way different experience between this and the other stuff.
Yeah, granted, I've got your Twitch open so I can see both streams, and I've got a couple of browser tabs open. I don't know how much of a strain that really takes on CPU. I think that's more RAM.
Yeah, I don't know. Most of my problem is like Chrome.
I stopped using Chrome because it was when my channel got stolen. It was through my Gmail, so like effectively everything on my Chrome became flammable. So I stopped using Chrome and went to using Opera, and actually I find that I like Opera a lot more. It's got a built-in VPN, and it's got all kinds of like integrations with WhatsApp and Twitch and stuff. It's really cool. It's just a better browser. And then they updated the Opera browser, and now all support for streaming is gone.
Oh god.
Because I had built this new computer, or not built this one. This one was a prefab model, so that I had a warranty. We built the other two PCs, but had this one set up. And when this one gets set up, installing all of my new stuff on it, everything's great. Opera's up. I get ready to start for my stream. I go to YouTube stream, and it goes, we can't do that. I hadn't updated Opera on the old machine, so it just never occurred to me that something had changed. So I'm like, don't fucking tell me I gotta go back to Chrome after spending months of just being happy without it. And now I have to use it again. Anytime I stream, I have to see that little rainbow blip next to my Opera browser, just reminding me that it's inadequate.
That's a bummer. I don't know that Chrome has any integrations for this shit. I try not to use a bunch of shit on Chrome because it is not necessarily super secure. So,
is not the best thing. Oh god damn it! The Raspberry Pi uses Chromium as a default browser.
No.
I'm not going to be able to
Microsoft
escape
Edge for PDFs because I always have shit open for D&D, but like other than that.
It's like when
The only
you
way-
it's like when you get a new PC and you look at Internet Explorer and you're like, this is a
Yeah, I
wonderful
can't.
browser for downloading other browsers.
Yeah, I can't. It's just so bad. It's PDF Viewer I like a lot, but I can't browse with it. It's
Growlithe, come back.
something.
It's gonna be okay. I think I know the issue. She wants to go out, but we can't just let her out because I got a message from my mom saying that their chickens got spooked, which means that the coyotes are out and about, and they don't really make any bones about what animals they'll fight. So, yeah, sorry, Growlithe, you're gonna have to be okay for just a little bit.
Edge is genuinely the best PDF browser on Windows. Yeah. By the way, we've been being spied on by Twitch staff today because I said I was bullying these loyals in here. Make sure to. I'm glad you've enjoyed your experience here, sir, or ma'am, whatever you got going on. NB pal, can y'all pour one out for Bing? Oh shit, I forgot Bing exists. Yeah, I think I think when you use, because Microsoft, right? I think it's the standard. Yeah, I don't know. Like, let's just look at this real quick. This is what pops up. This is their standard. Like, this looks terrible.
That has big early 2000s Yahoo energy.
Yeah, no, thank you. This is the best you got going on. Count me out. I'm good. I'm not enjoying myself some internet exploring on Windows. Yeah. Someone report the stream? No, just Twitch staff drops by every once in a while. Just a big fan since TBR. Hey, thanks, Loyal. Appreciate it. I'm glad that you dig.
I've never had Twitch staff hop in my streams, but then again,
Occasionally.
my streams are also very small when I'm doing Twitch streams, like 30 to 40 viewers, maybe if I'm like nightmarishly lucky.
This is actually a small stream for me, but 212 is well, small, modest. It's modest. It's like a chill. Doesn't get too crazy. But I took a break for a while. So how does one get a job watching Twitch? Well, I think you have a job and then you at Twitch doing actual work, and then you get a badge. I don't think the job is to watch Twitch. However, I do not know. So maybe Loyal, you can explain a little bit more of that if you're interested.
You can have your dream job.
It's not a weird flex. I like I was mentioning it because I kind of like I like it when we're not going a million miles an hour. So I kind of don't like we've gotten in the thousands multiple times, but I don't really like those streams a ton unless we're doing like charity or something. I kind of like the make sure that we can curate the community,
So I think for me on YouTube I like having about a 400 person stream. On Twitch generally about a 70 is nice. Because then you've got plenty of people you can talk to. When I'm streaming on YouTube, I generally have like a topic or a person I'm talking to, so I'm not engaging with chat all the time. Whereas on Twitch, I'm trying to engage with the chat more often.
Yeah, on YouTube, there's it's just a lot more to deal with, I guess. Yeah, we do an unboxing stream and there's like 500-700 people, and it's just going.
You're just like, I just tried to open up the box.
Yeah, and then we get for the last like 5 streams we did on YouTube, we got like porn bots like spamming like, "Hey, you want to see some titties?" It's like, I mean, I'm already here. I don't need your help at all. We're on the internet. Like, Charisma Save streams are best because they're small. Yeah, the YouTube stream is, or the YouTube stream, the D&D stream. We've been getting about 75-ish average viewers recently on this D&D stream, so that's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Those bots, the bane of your existence. I have a lot of mods that are mod at both. Yeah, those are hard.
Got all kinds of... I don't get many bots in my streams. It's usually just the comment section where you get, hey, do you want to be friends? Hey, do you want to see my website? www.sexisfun.com?
Yeah, there's the follow people are weird. I've never experienced anyone having success doing the like, hey, if I follow you and you follow me, then we'll both be following each other, and then surely the YouTube or the Twitch or Twitter or whatever we'll both be very popular people eventually and make a living doing this. It's like, just make some content, man.
So, like, just from the stance of how the algorithm works,
yeah,
it is really bad to do the follow for follow thing because dead followers or dead subs on YouTube, that actually negatively affects you really badly. You want people who are there for your content, who are going to be engaged with your content. Because if not, you literally get punished for it. Not in like a, you got Stephen Molyneux off the platform type of punishment, just a, your channel's not doing so hot. Does it need an IV drip?
It's a sidebar issue. They don't put you on the, like, you don't get analytics.
Shinny Black Rose in your chat, who's a fan we both have, I'd imagine, just said, I hope I didn't miss the Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel.
I don't actually. I've never played Yu-Gi-Oh! Never once.
Then we cannot do the duel.
I feel like you'd win. You'd auto win. I did play.
I have
4
a
rounds.
deck.
I played 4 rounds of MTG, and I won all of them. And so I retired on top. That was it.
You have a positive record on MTG. Boom.
Yeah. Yep, there we go. I played a vampire deck and an angel deck, 2 games each. And that was it. I don't know if that. I don't know. That's what I remember from. I don't even know if I'm saying that correctly. I just know that was happening.
Jack and Quill in my chat said, "Does Jake play Waifu Wars?" I don't think Jake plays Weiss.
What's a Waifu War?
There's
Is that a Steam sex game?
No, it's a moniker. There's a card game called Weishwartz, which takes multiple anime like Attack on Titan, Sword Art Online, but also like your fan service anime also gets lumped into there, and it's a card game that lumps all of that into one giant card game. It's fun. I enjoy it. I have several decks for
it. Jump Force, but cards.
Like Jump Force, but cards is probably an apt description, except Jump Force is mostly shonen anime, and shonen is never featured in Weiss. So
I have no idea what that means.
Shonen is like Full Metal Alchemist, Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, Bleach.
American?
No, it's a specific category of anime that is aimed at like. Usually it features a lot of combat. Usually it's aimed at young boys. That's like it's not a super well-defined thing, but that is the category, as it were. Like, Avatar: The Last Airbender could functionally, if you considered it an anime, could functionally be considered a shonen anime. And usually those are not the anime featured in Weiss. Weiss normally features what's called seasonal anime. The other thing about shonen is they're long form. Every single anime I named has multiple seasons.
Right. Seasonal is like 1 or 2 seasons.
Yeah, like in Weiss you've got like Evangelion,
which I didn't like.
I actually really liked Evangelion.
Couldn't get into it.
I'm
really bad at anime, so like I'm bad at liking anime specifically.
Fair. Oh, sometimes video games get in there too, like the Persona series is in Weiss.
I have Persona 5 because it was gifted to me and I never played it, but two of my best friends played the shit out of Persona, and 4 Gold or whatever just came out. Sell me. Did you like it?
So I haven't actually played. I just know it is a game series that has been recommended to me many times. Yeah. And literally the last game of Weiss I played was against a friend who brought his Persona 5 deck. So like that's the one that I remember most right now. There's some weird stuff in there too. Like there's a Tetris deck, which is just because Puyo Tetris exists. So like is weird. I played that again. I played that once in a tournament. Somebody brought that against me, and I'm just like, wait, there's a fucking Tetris deck in this game. Why is that a thing?
I don't even. I guess I don't know how functionally it worked. I very satisfyingly put the long stick block in.
Well, apparently Puyo Tetris has like characters so that you can actually build cards off of that, but I'm super unfamiliar with it. I found out about its existence through fighting a deck that used it, and then I was like, oh, that is a thing that exists in my reality. This is a weird timeline.
There's lots of weird shit out there.
It is.
I don't know.
I also just remembered JoJo's Bizarre Adventure just came out in Weiss as well.
I see a lot of people do the JoJo memes, but I have never partaken. I hear it's got a lot of gay energy.
Oh, it has big gay energy.
Yeah.
It is. However, I will say this. The way I described JoJo's to somebody recently is that imagine The Legend of Zelda. Like how Ganondorf reincarnates, but it's always a different Link and Zelda that have to deal with his bullshit. It's like that, except really big gay energy, and that is JoJo's. JoJo's is just Legend of Zelda, but big gay energy. And stands. I think that's accurate.
JoJo is so straight, it's gay. That is what someone just put in my. Okay, I don't know. I
think more anime like JoJo needs to exist, strictly because even though most of the characters in JoJo are not gay, because it's an anime based off a manga from the 80s, so of course, but the hypersexualization of the male characters almost exclusively in JoJo, it just needs to happen more. Because I'm not a person that goes, we need to sexualize females less in games and in media. I'm like, no, we need to sexualize guys as much. That's the reality I want. I'm straight and I want that reality.
Yeah, I often say, like, it's sad, but in America specifically, and the way we market things and the capitalism the very specific American capitalism, like, you haven't gotten to equality until you're equally exploited as, like, everybody else. So like getting objectified as, like, I don't know, like there was a trans ESPN model recently. It was a total hottie, and eventually we're gonna get to the point where it's just like sort of that. Remember when Cyberpunk got into a little bit of trouble because there was like an ad and it was like a lady with a humongous ding dong.
Yes,
and so
it was
right. But I think that's the point, right? Like, they're being hypersexualized as like look how bad this dystopia is. Everybody is just like, it's just product, just buy it. Just it's consumption.
That's because it's cyberpunk. That's what cyberpunk does. That's what
Yeah,
it's done for decades.
That's when you get that, and that's when equality happens. That's
like the whole point behind that ad in Cyberpunk was that this character this society, while more accepting, exploits everyone. It exploits a trans person by tokenizing them. That's what it is. That's what it's doing, which is
and it makes trans just like flippant and accessorizing. Because you can like, as a mechanic in the game, you can like change your gender whenever you want. It's almost to the point where gender doesn't exist, which is cool for an abolitionist. But like, from our point of view, because we're not there yet, it almost seems like something you take on and put off, and like, it's very interesting.
It's fully performative at that point.
Yeah, very interesting critique, and honestly, not far off to where I think we'd go. I think we should feminize males more. I agree. I actually saw a really interesting post, and again, I'm a dirty straight. You guys know this, so I have nothing to really gain. But there was a post on Twitter that was like, bring back guys that show their midriff, and like, instead of this like making it feminizing and stuff. And then someone above that said, yeah, but only if you let fat guys do it too, because I want to see that tummy. And it was like, this is like we live in such a weird
bears.
time.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm not hairy enough to be a bear, but I get often called one. I think I'm more of a cub, but definitely cuddly. But yeah, bring back male tank tops. Yeah, it's kind of like that. I don't know. I think the idea of like men with long hair was like really big in the 90s. It was sort of feminine, but it was like masculine at the same time. Like Eddie Vedder in the 90s.
Does anybody remember the mullet?
The mullet is the masculinization of the feminization of long man hair. Facts. It's the toxic masculinity of long man hair. That's what mullets are.
You ain't man enough if you don't look like me.
If the front ain't short and the back ain't long, you're a sissy.
You gotta look like a professional from the front and a rebel from the back.
And my parents, they didn't like hit me as a child, but I was definitely abused because I had a rat tail. I like that.
I had that for a brief time, and it was mainly because I was way too lazy to cut my hair, and so I just.
No, but I was 3. I was a victim. If you opt into that, if that's a thing that you're like, you know what, I don't necessarily like this, or maybe I do like it. Like, you're choosing. That's freedom. That's liberty. That's America. I was forced.
That's horrible.
There's pictures of me. I should get them from my mom. I should get baby pictures from my mom, and we'll do a stream or something. But yeah, I had a rat tail. I looked like fucking Randy Travis. That's a reference.
I think I actually have, under my bookcase, kept there because I like to pretend it doesn't exist, a picture of me when I was younger with hair down to, like, here. But, like, when I mean younger, I mean, like, a year old, maybe? Maybe 2. I at least had clothes on, I know that. Which was impressive, I think.
Today I learned my mom indoctrinated me into toxic masculinity at age 10 by cutting the hair in the front short when I wanted long hair. I mean, joking aside, I do think that there are aspects that I look back on, like lots of pressure to have girlfriends, or lots of pressure, not boyfriends, or not wear girl colors. Or I made the joke earlier, but it literally happened. My dad literally yelled at me for picking a girl in a video game once. Like, little things that sort of built up. Did you just gag? What are you doing? It's looking gross. Okay, the dog's just being weird. But I don't know. Did a lot of other people experience this shit? Like, pink. That's a girl color. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Girl color thing.
I got the pink as a girl color thing, but I also went to a Christian private school and was forced to have a buzz cut for years. If you're familiar with Pensacola Christian Academy, that was my school with the ABECA literature and the IFB Seventh-day Adventist indoctrination. I also just found out that I'm not the only YouTuber who just did my taxes yesterday.
Yeah.
One of my other friends just posted that, hey, I just got done doing my taxes. They're going to be even worse next year. And everybody's like, dude, it's July. And I'm like, yeah, there's difference, though. We're YouTubers. That means we don't really have functional lives, and we've probably got some mental issues. It's why we're okay with this.
Yeah.
You guys are functional parts of society. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just dread it. I dread it.
This is the first time I had to sit down and like itemize everything, and I hated it. It was so annoying.
Did you break even? Probably not.
So I broke even, but only because my YouTube channel only started being really not really profitable, but like profitable enough to sustain near the latter half of last year. So there were only a few thousands of dollars in there to even quantify. And then it was like, hey, did you buy a home? Well, yeah, I did. Okay, and how much of your home is dedicated to work? This
100%.
much square feet.
100%.
I didn't put 100%. No. I put the office square footage.
Yeah, and it's your TV, your phone bill. Like, how much is that? How much? I don't know. Fucking all of it. Yes, get rid of all of it. Because as contractors, our tax is worse than if we. It's weird. they want you. They say like, oh, let's be a small business owner. Be a small business owner. It's America. Blah blah blah. And then they destroy you, and you pay way more percentage than you would if you were a wage slave.
Yep. When my mom started owning her own business, she found that she had to pay taxes both as an employee and as an employer of herself, which was land of the entrepreneur, everybody.
Not great.
No.
When I am emperor of the world, that will change.
When you are emperor of the world, is there going to be like a corn stimulus?
Hell yeah. Everyone gets a little bit of corn, a little bit of love.
Everybody gets 2 kernels per day. Use them wisely.
That's your corn bucks. You guys get corn bucks. To be fair, you could live in Jakevilles, which is what they would call those. Basic standard of living. No one gets to be homeless unless they absolutely want to be. You could go live in the woods if you want to.
Yeah.
But you got a place to stay if you need it. Just saying. There's no reason. We're so stupid. There's so many things that we could fix by just going, what if we were nice? That's literally it. What if we were nice to people? I don't know, man. Then we could take dead malls and make them fucking apartment buildings for homeless people. Done.
Can we do that with half the... Can we take all the NIFB churches and turn them into homeless people apartments too? That'd be cool.
Sure. Yeah, fuck it. I don't know. Like, there's lots of things we could do. There's lots of empty houses that nobody really fucking owns. Like, yeah, let's... And that's just housing. What about, like, I don't know, giving people food?
Give everybody just a month's worth of basic food. Just like, here's some soy, here's some rice, here's some beans. Like, this way you won't starve. You will have food. Here's your house. This is your baseline. You are fed. You have a house. Go get a job and get more.
Shelter. Yeah. I think we fetishize jobs even, but yeah, I think at this point you kind of need it. But eventually we're going to run out of, like, even that, where we're going to be like, well, there aren't really jobs. So now we need UBI. And I don't know. It's like we're cascading into this place where, like, I don't know. We have this weird. Your worth is tied directly to your production. It's weird. Like, we get called, people tell us all the time when they disagree with us, they go like, get a real job. You know what I mean? Like if we're not breaking rocks with hammers in hot fields and sweating all day, it's not, like, worthwhile, right? Like,
it's weird. They'll say
they like subjugation, strange.
They'll say get a job, but then, like, they won't say the same thing to Glenn Beck or Tucker Carlson.
No.
Even though they are effectively doing the same thing.
Yep. Does Trump have a real job? Hell no. He certainly doesn't do his job.
I mean, he's certainly failed at least 7 of them.
Yeah,
do you want Trump steaks? Is that a thing you want? No, not really. I've heard how you have your steaks, you monster.
I do like a steak, but not a well done one. Although I accidentally did
with ketchup.
Yeah, you know what? I can get over if you like a well done steak. I can get over that. But when you do the ketchup, that's a big deal for me. Wait, John Doyle works at Subway? You fucking lie. You do not lie to me this way. Don't get me excited that John Doyle works at Subway. I live in the same state. I will go make him make me a sandwich. Like 100%. I'll tip him. They take tips at Subway. He's still a worker, and I still think he deserves a living wage. Not a shitpost? Fuck off. Holy shit. Wait. I live here. I need to find out which Subway it is. I will literally. Okay, I'm going on the Subway diet. I'm gonna make. He blocked. So I went on I debated him, and then he blocked me shortly after he lost. And
so you're going to go and say, "Make me a sandwich" every time.
Literally tell him to make me a sandwich until he quits. I'm gonna make him quit his job at Subway. Hell yeah.
You just go, make me a sandwich, I need onion. More onion.
More onion. I said extra onion. It's the only low wage worker I'll ever be mean to.
Oh my god.
I cannot stand people that are dicks to service people. I'm gonna be it just to John. Fuck John. There's no way.
You're gonna
Here's
walk
a link
in.
to the picture. Shut the fuck up. Oh my god. Oh no.
Oh, what? What? You don't need a gun to buy a sandwich. Dude. Dude. Do you... Okay.
Stop, John. No. Oh my. I need. Oh jeez.
Oh my god. And dude, his trigger discipline is so bad.
Pointing it literally at a person.
And you don't do that even if your gun has a safety. That is poor trigger discipline. Have you ever been to a range? Have you ever taken gun safety classes, you douche?
This is gonna be my phone background or something. Like this is my header now. I don't.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna show you guys in the chat here. Enjoy. John Doyle, host of the popular right-wing show Feck Off Commie or Heck Off Commie. Sorry, he wouldn't use the feck word. This is John Doyle, the big right-wing, massive dick energy, hates communism, super pro-capitalism, so pro-capitalism, he's being exploited by a corporation as we speak.
Hey, get your money however you want to get your money, okay? You need it to survive in capitalism. He does. Surely this is a society. He must exist in it. But god damn it, if this isn't, like, just soul-crushingly perfect. This is, of course he's a wage slave.
Like,
and is advocating to continue to be that.
Here you go,
at
guys.
Subway. He's not even a manager at Subway.
For everyone...
He's just the sandwich guy at Subway. That's why he has such fucking impotent rage. Because he's just making sandwiches for guys. This makes so much sense. Oh,
he's doing the job he argues that women should be doing, and that upsets him. That's the energy. I strive to have that energy one day.
Wait, he pointed a gun at Mike Bloomberg, and you called Mike Bloomberg a hoe and got permabanned? Wow.
How dare you try to take away his liberty to eat fresh, sir?
Jesus. Oh my god. There's something I need. I don't know what I'm gonna. How do I track down where he works? I need to go visit Subway and have him make me 7 foot-long chicken teriyaki sandwiches. That's the worst one, right? I feel like you don't want to make that one the most.
So I will be honest with you. I used to work for Publix in their sub shop, and I can tell you,
sucks, right? McDonald's is terrible.
McDonald's. Oddly enough, McDonald's and Publix are the 2 jobs I enjoyed the most of all the ones I've had.
I enjoyed the workers. I didn't enjoy the job.
That's probably why I enjoyed them, all things considered.
I did not enjoy the work. I definitely enjoyed the people, though.
So I will say this: the worst sandwiches are not the ones with like scoopable meat, which like chicken teriyaki is. The worst sandwiches are the ones with layers. So when they're like, "Hey, I want to get an Italian sandwich," and you're just like, "Okay, I'm gonna lay down each pepperoni and each bit of salami and each bit of ham," and that's the tweet, guys. That's what we're doing. Those ones sucked.
How do I find how many locations of Subways are there in Michigan? That's what I need to know first. There's lots of them. There's more Subways than McDonald's, aren't there? Yeah, Subways in Michigan. I could be wrong. Subway locations. Wait, they were planning to close 500 locations in 2018, man. Oh boy. Hold on. I'm just gonna say subway near me on maps.
And just
And instead of yeah. Okay. Let's see. Let's see maps. There's 6 within driving range. Let's zoom out a little bit
you
more.
get a sandwich from each of them. So what you do is you look at his schedule, like what he uploads, when he streams, and you go, okay, we're gonna go to Subways when he's not doing that, at least an hour before. And you just go to every Subway you can until you hit the right one.
For some reason, I thought he said he lived in Flint. Did he mention where he lived? Uh-oh. Did he mention where he lived when... Southfield. Uh-oh. Hold on.
Pikachu, you have not had chicken teriyaki? Why? That is wrong. Bad.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong, they have a rib sandwich right now that's pretty good.
I bet he goes to Holy Sepulchre. That church right there. Okay, in the area of where he said he lived, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. There's 20 subways.
Are you going... Okay, so as much as I want to say you make it a YouTube video finding the John Doyle subway, that feels like doxing. So I wouldn't say do that.
As long as I don't show... As long as only I know where he's at, right? You know what I'm saying?
Apparently Sushi Mommy found his Facebook.
Well, I know. His stuff is public.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as long as I don't say, here's the Subway John Doyle works at, and I just say, I found John Doyle working at Subway. Right?
Then you just go there and go, you know what? I am buying... To piss him off more, you buy many sandwiches, you make sure he's the sandwich artist, and then you let him know that you're going to be...
I forgot to call him sandwich artist.
You're going to be redistributing the sandwiches. I got these sandwiches to redistribute them to those in need.
On his Facebook, it does not say like which one he works for. It doesn't say like any other contact info or anything like that. And I won't show that on stream just in case. I don't know. But it's definitely him.
That is...
I need to log into a Facebook to like look at this shit.
Sounds like cancer.
If you do find the exact specific one, I'll go to it. Otherwise, I might have to go to 20 different ones. And he does not want to see me walk into his Subway. You 100% know his soul will evaporate if I walk into his Subway. Right? He's going to be like, oh my fucking God, no. This guy...
I have a friend who is actually a store manager at a Subway. I wonder if he actually could. I don't think he could though, because John's probably part of a franchise, and there's nothing. Yeah. There's no grabbing between franchise and corporate.
I have no interest in doxing him. I would never share where he's at for you guys. That's irresponsible. But I do have very much interest in because we have a very negative relationship. Going there, bringing cash and buying like 30 sandwiches.
All $1 bills. Every bill is a $1 bill. Just go, sorry, I'm a lefty, I'm poor, I had to collect these.
Apparently it was taken 2 years ago. Well, we'll see. Maybe he quit. Maybe he quit his job at the Subway.
Potentially. I mean, his channel has enough subs. He should be able to be full-time. But like...
He should be able to. Maybe he did.
But like, seriously, if he is there...
John Doyle's an asshole. That's who. But, you know, worst case scenario, I do like the veggie subs at Subway. I like some of their bread.
The Italian urban cheese bread is good.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do the flatbread.
I haven't been in a while. I don't frequent.
Order them with chains, Jake. Just sit
the veggie delight.
You just sit there with a thing of quarters. All right.
Rolls of fucking quarters.
No.
Hell yeah.
A single jar of pennies and go, okay, I'm going to have to pay you by using a scale.
Oof. I just joined the channel, so I would like to know what's going on. I know you didn't have a tone when you wrote that, probably, and you were like, you're genuinely being like, hey, who the fuck is this guy? But it came across as a tone, and it was funny. John Doyle is a far-right authoritarian, trad, conservative, Christian fascist. Nailed it.
And he runs a show called Heck Off Commie.
He thinks the 1950s were the best because he's, well, not black. No. He's not a good guy. Yeah.
Nah.
Like, I think he might be more authoritarian than Ben Shapiro.
I think so.
But it's close. Yeah. I think so. Like, he wants to ban porn and, like, although Ben Shapiro does too. He wants to, like, I don't know. His takes on freedom are fucking weird, and I don't think he has a good one. Heck off, fascist, and make my hoagie.
Oh my god! You know, there actually is. If he worked at a Publix instead of a Subway, there is one sub that I hated making there, and that is the chicken tender sub, because unlike every other sub that has like prepared meats that you can layer yourself, this one you have to just take a bunch of chicken tenders, put them on a cutting board, take a knife, slice them into bits, and then layer them on the sandwich. It takes so long. It is such a you would go in and go, okay, I want 20 chicken tender subs. I know that means you're gonna have to cook new chicken tenders to keep up with the amount that I want, and I know you're gonna have to cut each one individually, and that's gonna suck for you. But it's okay because you have a contractual agreement with your employer. So this actually isn't bullying you. It can't be.
And then it'll make him a leftist, like, immediately.
He just goes, being a worker sucks.
Shouldn't I have more rights in this awful?
This blows.
I feel like I missed so much goodness tonight. That's okay. Yeah, like, literally 3.5 hours of I did not expect. I thought, like, okay, Cyrus will come on, we'll talk for about an hour or something, and we'll hang out, and it'll be good time, and then we'll go our separate ways. Nope, too much chemistry. Too much good times.
Speaking of which, though, since we are at about that mark, it is probably a good idea for me to go get food.
Oh, what you eating tonight?
I actually haven't decided that yet. It's going to be based on if I'm lazy. If I'm lazy, probably McDonald's, which is going to suck, because it's the only thing open.
Yeah, McDonald's does suck.
But if not, then I might actually thaw out some chicken and do... Let's see, I could do an Alfredo. That would be cool. But I also might just do chicken tenders because that's nice and comfortable.
Man, I don't know. Sometimes we just lazy it up and go to the McDonald's.
Like
I mean, nothing wrong with it, but it's not always. It never makes me feel good.
It's not tasty. You don't feel good afterwards, and I'll be honest, for the type of food you get at McDonald's, it's way too expensive.
Isn't that wild too?
Like
not good food.
Like a Big Mac is only a piece of bread more than a McDouble, but it also costs $5, and a McDouble costs $2.
Yeah, if you get a McDouble with the mac sauce, no mustard or ketchup, add lettuce, you have the same thing minus the middle bun. Yeah,
basically, and that ends up running about. I think that was about $3 when you do it that way.
It depends on how much they charge for the sauce squirts.
Sauce squirts are about 50 cents.
50?
Lettuce is about 40 cents. I'm going off of the.
Not to date me, but it was 20 cents for each of those things when I was working there. So
it was I'm saying how much it was when I was working there, but then again, I live in the Atlanta area. Things are a little more expensive here.
Yeah. I guess one more question. Since you're both here, any tips for someone hoping to get into the politics philosophy talk on YouTube/Twitch? I would say only do it if you're actually interested in it. Like, it's a for you thing. You have to do the content, and you're the one that has to, like, if it's a money grab, it's a bad idea because not a lot of money in it necessarily. And also make sure that you're good at communicating in whatever way that is you communicate. But make sure that you're trying to get your ideas across. Do you have any
I'd say the biggest things, aside from obviously having enthusiasm for it, the two things I would say is, one, have an end goal. Why are you doing this? Like, if you want to hop on here, I will tell you the things that I've gotten. I've gotten death threats. I've gotten people saying they're going to come to my house and string me up.
Yeah.
I've gotten all kinds of fat shaming and all the. If there's an insult you can think of, I've probably had it levied at me at some point. I'm sure Jake has as well.
If like peer-to-peer interaction that ends up negative affects you in any way, like like it hurts your mental health, I would not suggest doing anything public.
The other thing that I would say is read. Like, if you're gonna hop into the political philosophy space, please read. Like, go understand the people that let's say you're a lefty, you want to understand the people you're arguing against. Read Shapiro, read Peterson, understand what shit things they're going to say, and then also make sure that on your end you're reading some stuff. Like, there's The Philosopher's Toolkit is a good book. Mastering Logical Fallacies is pretty good. The Conquest of Bread, I think, needs to go without. If you're in a lefty space, it kind of goes without saying. Just find some books and fucking read. You will not be upset when you come more prepared because you've read a fucking book.
I do not suggest reading Ben Shapiro. You're going to have to. Like, that's good. I just don't suggest it.
it's not that it's good writing. It's not that it's good writing. It's that if it's the same reason I went through and fucking sat down and read a good chunk of the Quran. It's not that I want to. It's that if you're going to argue against that kind of stuff, you're going to straw man it if you don't. And if you're fighting a straw man, you're not... I don't subscribe to horseshoe theory, but in this particular instance, you're not really doing any better than what we've seen thousands of right-leaning people do all the time on the internet.
Yeah. That's the Bible.
It
hasn't convinced me yet.
That's my thing. Just please read and please have a goal. And don't make that goal money, because then you'll be Dave Rubin. Nobody wants to be Dave Rubin.
I mean, I anticipate the day that Dave Rubin comes out straight and divorces his husband.
He divorced his husband because cultural Christianity is the only way to save us from the oppression of Islam.
If that happens, boy, is that sad. His book, by the way, is also dog shit, and we're reading that, and that's not good.
Don't burn it, Jake! Don't!
I think we might kill it in a bunch of ways that aren't burning it, like drown it or something. Are there any grifty people on the left? It seems like there's a lot less money in it. I don't think there's a lot to grift on the left necessarily, but maybe?
I think
it's more like liberals than lefties.
Liberals, and then maybe like a class reductionist that speaks about things only in terms of theory, like essentially a libertarian at that point.
I mean, there's some people that I've debated from they call themselves far left, but like someone said that like race mixing is risky. I feel like that might be a little grifty, but I think
like a bad tanky take.
Yeah, it was really bad. It was very racist, but yeah. So I mean, I don't know that. Yeah, I don't know that there's a lot of. I think the grift, there needs to be the money in it. So I think it's someone like the Quartering. Like, I don't think he has a fucking like argument in his body. He just is like, Brie Larson's bad, and then he looks at the numbers and goes, yeah, and then he buys a shed or some shit or whatever he said he bought.
Yeah, I don't see a lot of grifting on the left. I was accused of grifting on the left at one point.
Oh, I got accused of stealing charity money. It was really fucking weird.
When it happened to me, I was like, instead of defending me, actually, like Vadim from Creationist Cat was like, dude, if he's grifting, the left isn't the way to do it. What are you talking about?
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's not what the money is not here.
The money's not with the workers, guys. That's why we have class conflict.
I spent almost a decade being a lefty atheist. If I decided to be a right-wing religious person,
you'd be invited on all the talk shows.
I'd be the new white Candace Owens immediately. I'd make tons of money. Maybe I should do that and infiltrate them.
You go in and I actually have a friend who lives in the same city as Alex Jones. You could just like get a spot on his show.
Yeah, no
It's like,
shit.
okay, I found out that the lefties are actually all aligned with the globalists. They're trying to destroy civilization from within, this good, wholesome Western Christian civilization. I finished the Bible Reloaded. I came to the light at the end of Revelation. I get it now. You guys, look. Just...
God, yeah, the eyeball lion chair monstrosity in Revelation. That's what gets me. The monsters in Revelation. Like, oh fuck, that really speaks to me.
The locust with the snake's back and the prince's head. That's the one. I liked that one. It had horse hooves.
Anyway,
as a kid, I used to draw those monsters straight from my fucking Bible because I was a Left Behind fan.
Sad. Left Behind. Bad. That's back when what's his face did it? Not Nick Cage, but oh, what was his name? What is his name? Kirk Cameron. He did the Left Behind.
I didn't even. I know that movie, but I didn't remember that.
Yeah, Kirk Cameron did was there 3 or 4 Left Behind movies? Kirk Cameron.
Not that many of them. I was sad that they never concluded when I was a kid. Now that I'm an adult, I'm like, yay, I didn't have to suffer.
Well, they tried to redo it again with Nick Cage, and it didn't work.
It's still bad.
Yeah. All right, buddy. Well, thank you so much for hanging out tonight. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want. There was one kid that wanted to debate me, and I pushed him back.
I'm sorry.
I'm not. God, I'm just not sad about that. My crush won't text me back. What should I do? Live in reality. That's a one-way crush, my friend.
Sucks. Yeah. Do not pursue. Do not harass. Accept and move on, and try again in 2 years, maybe.
Sometimes people just don't like you. You know, that's okay. That's okay.
All right. That said,
all right.
Then thank you for the conversation, Jake. I will also be ending my stream as well.
All right. Well, you guys have a good night. Maybe we'll play some League soon.
I wouldn't mind that. What do you play? I haven't actually seen you play League. I just seen that you do.
I do support and jungle.
Sweet. I do top and jungle.
There we go.
It'll work. I will play Lulu.
Excellent.
10 out of 10. Don't look at my match history. It's all AD Lulu in ranked.
Oh, Jesus.
Do not check.
Cyrus, if you see chat, could you DM Jake a PNG of your AVI for YouTube thumbnail? Okay. Just put a thingy for that?
Yeah, yes. Give me 1 second while I'm sitting here thinking about it.
Okay.
Okay, so the question is, do you want official art, or do you want me to send you some cringe?
Whichever you're happy with being on a thumbnail. It'll probably be cut up into a few things. Sarah is my YouTube person. She has deemed this YouTube-y. So. Okay,
then you know what? We're just gonna go with the memes that exist on my channel at all times.
It'll be next to King Jake, so whatever.
You know what? Hold up. Here we go. We're gonna go with the Rule 63 memes that happen on my channel, because that's what my fans expect. It's like, oh look, it's Cyrus with boobies. There you go. We'll use that one.
Go.
It'll work.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's perfect. Perfect. Oh, and you have a body pillow of yourself.
That is one of the fan arts that was sent to me, and I was like, I like that. I'll keep that.
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
Legend of Phoenix is Sarah. Yeah. Anyway, thanks again so much. Anytime we'll hang out, I'm sure. I'm thinking about actually. By the way, I haven't mentioned this just before you go. I was thinking about. I don't know if you're aware on Twitch. There's sometimes these lefty circle jerk hangout things that I don't really care for because I think there's way too many people. I'm kind of thinking about like small batch, like limited edition, small batch malt brew, like 3 lefty people talking and sort of just having like a conversation, just like we had tonight. It just sort of meanders and we go wherever we want, and just sort of almost like a podcast where we just kind of hang out.
It's kind of like what I see Gushin do over on their stuff.
Yeah, from time to time, except just smaller. Not like yeah, there's Mind Waves did some stuff, Destiny does some stuff. Like I don't know that I'm into these like big panel things, but just like a little triangle of people, I think would be fun.
Sure.
So
I wouldn't mind.
yeah. All right. Well,
Cool.
have a wonderful night. Enjoy your whatever form of chicken you eat tonight. I hope it's great.
It will be nice and crispy, whatever it is.
All right. Have a good night.
See you, man. Well, that was fun. Hopefully everybody enjoyed the conversation as much as I enjoyed it. Gamer Let's Play says, insult me, please be sincere. So I'm trying to think of an insult, but scraping the bottom of the barrel is usually not terribly useful for me, so I'm just not gonna. So, there we go. Cool. 10 out of 10. That said, I am going to end stream on my end as well, because I would like to eat. I would like to do that thing where food is involved, and I would like to spend time with my family, because they are cool people, and I like them. So I'm going to do that. So, if you guys enjoyed, awesome. Hopefully, you did enjoy. If not, you'll tell me in the comment section, I'm sure. Thank you all for hanging out. It's been a blast. I will see you all